Oh, we're live. We are live. Sorry, had to get the microphone adjusted the way it's supposed to be. But we're live, waiting on Keyz. This is the pre-show, the show before the show. So, oh crap, I didn't fix my snack. Get some drink, my water. We all good to go. We got some crazy stuff to talk about. It's gonna be real football heavy. Just simply because of what's been going on in not only the NFL but especially in NCAA football. It's been wild. So we got a lot to talk about. Got a lot to talk about. Um, been a crazy week. Loving this new TV I got. It's an early birthday gift. It's pretty large, but it's one of them smart TVs. So I've been digging it. I've been digging it, playing around with it and seeing what it does and everything, and knowing that I already like know what a smart TV is and know what it does, but nah, it's just getting used to it because it's a little different. Like when you turn it on, you have to tell it what input to go to every single time. That's annoying. I need to figure out how to just turn it on and have it on whatever input I want it on. Somebody try to call me. Yeah. So kids being kids. Whew. Well, I tell you, I say a prayer for parents and especially teenagers all the time. And there he is.
What's up, y'all?
Man. Bruh. I was sitting here fooling around and stuff, and then I was like, I think I need to put my hoodie on because it's kind of chilly in here. But
As
then
I
I was like,
came, look, as I
I'm
came in the room, I said, damn, it's a little cold. Then I realized my pick was upstairs. I ain't feel like going up there, so I had to find a hat. My head looked crazy. So, here we are.
yeah,
Mm. Great weekend in sports, guys. Glad y'all are here. We
man.
gon'
Look,
we
it
gonna
was
talk about it.
stupid
We
this
gonna talk
weekend.
about it. I ain't excited about the NFL this week, so y'all ain't getting hype keys. But you getting realistic keys though. But you
Oh
just
my
not getting hype
gosh,
keys.
here we
Yeah.
go.
It's not a bad it's not a bad thing, man. It's not a bad thing.
Hey
Little humble.
man,
Everybody need a little humble pie, man.
hey, but here's the thing though. Like, I kind of figured the 49ers could win that game. I was
Me
like, the
too.
49ers, of course, can win this game. However, the thing was like, um, what will that look like? I did not have it looking like that.
We're gonna
Oh,
talk about it.
dang.
We're gonna talk about it. My defensive backs are ass. That's all I'm gonna say. Defensive backs are ass.
Man, yeah. So normally this is how we like to kick off the show when we do the show. We do a little music, intro, and everything else. So here we go. I have it queued up. I have the thing is on. Look, I'm ready this time. I'm ready for real this time. I even got it turned up to the max. So it's probably gonna come in loud as hell, but here we go.
I think I got one this week. Good sir, you do not. That music is low, good sir. I promise you, it sounds like you listening to it in your headphones, and that's it. I'm not lying. I think we have a mishap again this week.
That's Soldier Slim featuring BG, not my dog.
Hold on, let me check here. Hold on.
I didn't. What was funny was when Keyz sent me this, he was like, we was like, all right, we're gonna do something new, something old, whatever. We're gonna just switch it up week to week. We may choose to do this, that, a third, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. I was like, all right, cool. He was like, I got one for you next week. I got one for you next week. I was like, all right, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. I said, let me see what he come up with. And then he sent that to me. I was like, hey, all right, bet. I mean, I gotta come up with a fire outro.
Hey, because in my head, I was like, I said last week, I was like, I bet I gotta go New Orleans now. I'm not gonna go Houston. I was gonna go Houston because me and Jermaine talked about it. It was Pimp C's
Mm-hmm.
death day yesterday.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I should go Jay-Z because it was his birthday yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remembered, I was like, nope. I said I'm gonna go New Orleans. So I was like, Soldier Slim. But then I was like, what song? I don't want to just pick the normal songs that everybody know. I was like, I had to
Yeah,
go a little digging, listen to a couple. I was like, all right, him and BG. I like that one.
man. You see, I went Virginia last time because I picked the Clips,
That's what made me go New Orleans
and
or
then he went
Nolens.
New Orleans on this one. So I was like, all right, bet. So I don't know. We're gonna see what we do for the outro though. But it's Keyz and Jermaine. You see the ads right there. We put them on the screen for y'all to make it easier for y'all to follow us, so we don't have to keep repeating it. Cause I got to keep telling you how to spell my name, or Key's got to tell you to make sure you put the Z on the end or whatever. Like, just look on the screen. Um, we here for episode 10, Sucio Sportz. Episode 10. We made it to double
Episode
digits.
10, baby. 10, baby.
We made it to double
10.
digits. Made it to double digits.
Let me DDP it. Oh,
DDP.
dang. It's crazy.
What up to Sloan and the fellas over at Backstage Brawl? He said Uriah should have put the game on mute. I think he watching the Knicks right now
Yeah, the Knicks, when I came
in
downstairs,
Milwaukee.
the Milwaukee was up. Yes. Parlay already starting off good. Yes.
What you had on the parlay?
Oh man, I had Milwaukee. So I messed up, right? Not paying
Oh
attention to
boy!
the dates. So my parlay is today and tomorrow. Because I didn't look at the
Wow.
date. I saw all of those games came on tonight. I was like, oh,
Uh
they lit tonight.
huh.
So I did two of them though, just because that Phoenix and Laker one can go either way. So I
Yeah.
did one with Phoenix, one with the Lakers. Same picks going down with everybody else. That was the only game that kind of like threw me off a little. So I just put $1 on each one. Little five, little
Yeah, when you
something
do
slight.
those parlays, and especially if you have more than like
When I do the
four,
money
five,
lines,
6 legs,
yeah, the
you
money lines, I don't go too crazy on those ones because NBA so fickle, man. You never the team you think gonna win. I guess they take the night off, or just that other team is just their night. So
man, look, like there's been times where um like you see a team like let's say a Golden State who as a team shoots like 35, 36 or some percent from three, right? If they have a night where they're shooting like 25% from three, then you looking at it like, whoa, what the hell? Like that's gonna totally change the course of action right there. Um saying what's up to the one of the interns who just walked in. Um
one of the
but
interns, dude, that's crazy.
no, like when those teams have bad shooting nights and stuff,
Mhm.
like that really throws it all off. That really throws it off big time. And you don't get the same kind of production out of them when they're not hitting their shots. Or like
Right.
let's say with Philly, if Embiid gets in foul trouble, or let's say Joker gets in foul trouble, even worse for Denver. That's something that's even bigger. Um,
Yep.
you can have something like that, like totally turn the results of a game upside down. So you have to be mindful and careful. Like, okay, I gotta know, like, if I'm picking money lines on this parlay, like, just don't expect to get a big return on your results.
At all. At all. That's why I say I do small numbers. I think one of them I did like 10 cent just to see like if it hit or
Hmm.
not. I think that 10 cent one was like 110 if I hit. So
Sloan said he don't watch enough basketball to bet, and he don't know how to bet it.
to be honest, I don't with basketball as much. Even though I do watch a lot, I still don't bet off the stats. I just do money
Hmm.
line as far as who's gonna win the game. Football, I go a little more on stats as far as like I go back and kind of look like, all right, this person's been scoring touchdowns 5 games. He's on a 5 game streak. Like if you betting with 49ers, Debo and CMC are usually the two that you can always choose because they're gonna score a touchdown. Like
Right.
nobody else scores. CMC is gonna run one in. Um, and so is Debo's gonna catch one. Philly's the same way. I know consistently Jalen's gonna run one in. Now, as
Hmm.
far as receiving, I kind of gotten off of picking AJ and Devontae lately because they've been a little cold. But I always pick Jalen and Swift to at least run one in. So it's just little stuff like that that you just go back and pay attention to. And I'll go back over the last like 3 or 4 weeks, look at the offensive stats, and then go from there.
Yeah, and when you're looking at basketball betting too, um, I follow and used to work with a bunch of like pro gamblers and gambling writers and stuff. So I follow those guys. And when people ask me for advice, I don't know exactly what to tell you when it comes to basketball, baseball, like hockey, horse racing, stuff like that. But I know somebody. Football, I can kind of give you some pointers as to what I see and how I go about it. But again, the guys that I know that I'll point you in the direction of, they're pros. They do this for a living, or they write about it, or whatever. So listen and follow them. I'm just I get paid for my opinion. That's all I get paid. I get paid for my opinion. That's
That's
it.
it.
Like I don't have an opinion on gambling. Like I like to, I participate, and sometimes I'm good at it. Sometimes I'm not. But hey, I know who to follow and who to go to for that kind of advice. But speaking of the NBA, the in-season tournament has been going on, and
We are down to the
the Final
final.
Four.
Well, about to be the final four. The last 2 games of the quarterfinals are tonight. Milwaukee and Knicks are playing now. Milwaukee's up, and then after that game, we get Lakers and Suns, which should be a very good game. The Lakers have been finally clicking lately.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix has been a little up and down, which is surprising, to be honest. So it's going to be a good game. I think whoever wins that one, the Pelicans are going to give them a hell of a game. I've been watching the Pelicans.
Hmm.
They have been playing very well. Zion has been playing lights out. So,
And they beat the Kings by 10. And the
yeah.
Kings have been balling out this year.
Hmm.
And what happened was I was talking about a buddy of was talking about this with a buddy of mine when it comes to the Pelicans. I said if all those young guys that they have in that court, if they put together, now that they got a solid vet like CJ there, if they can come together and stay healthy all at the same time and get that chemistry down,
Hmm.
that team could be amazing because they have guys with such good skill sets and they have good role players as well. You got some stars to build around and you got some quality role players as well. Like I want to say Trey Murphy, was it, that came off the bench with like 19 in the game last night. So and then you got guys like Herb Jones and Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson have finally kind of figured something out between the two of them. And then you throw Valanciunas there in the middle as a big, and you just look at all this like that. I love watching that team play when they're all healthy and they can all like get on the court, contribute at the same time. So to see that next round game between whoever wins that Suns Lakers game and the Pelicans is going to be nice on that side of the bracket. On the other side, looks like we're going to get the Bucks and the Pacers. Now the Pacers end up beating the Celtics by 10 in the other quarterfinal on the east side of the bracket. I was
I
kind
like
of
that.
surprised, but not really.
I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
I was kind
Indiana's
of
been
surprised, but not really.
Halliburton has been balling,
Lights out this year. I want to say he's
balling.
averaging like I think it's like 25 and 12 or something crazy like that. But he's been on a whole nother level. Like I want to say some people said he may be up for most improved player this year. I'm sorry, excuse me, Mr. Halliburton. He's averaging 27 and 12 this year.
Mm.
Um, but and 4 rebounds, and this is on 52% shooting, as a guard. So he's having one of those seasons this year that's just I mean, he's a tick below. He's at 88.1%. So he's right on the cusp of having a 50, 40, 90 season if he can just get that free throw percentage up a little bit. He'll be averaging 25 points, 10 rebounds with a 50, 40, 90 season. I believe there has not been a guy that has averaged those numbers and had a 50, 40, 90 season. I think maybe Harden or Steph did it recently, but I'll have to look it up. But I remember I saw the blurb and I forgot to write it down. But I know nobody has averaged what he's averaging and has put up those kind of shooting percentages. It just doesn't happen. So he's having an MVP type of season. But do we think at this point in time right now, as good of a season as Therese Halliburton is having, is he the front runner for NBA MVP? And I know it's early. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'd have to look at. I. It's a good question. I would say yes. I'd say yes, but I'm trying to think like who else is like really. Giannis is Giannis. He's having a Giannis season so far. That's all you can ever say about Giannis, man. It's just he's having a Giannis season.
Man,
Um,
you know,
Joker
it's
really hasn't turned it on yet, in my opinion. Well, no, I feel like Joker's also just having a Joker season. Like the usual suspects are just having their usual seasons right now. So for Halliburton, he's not. This isn't too normal, so that's why it's like he's standing out right now.
mhm.
But it's like everybody else's numbers are pretty much exactly how they always are. So
All
that's
right.
why it's hard to
So,
say if he's like the front runner or not. It's like he's the standout. I'll say that.
all right, I got it pulled up. Here is, and I love basketball reference because they have all sorts of statistics, analytics, and they got the history of it. But they have, and I'm going to give you the list, and I'm going to see what you think about this list. It's the top 10 candidates for MVP
Uh-huh.
for the 23-24 season right now. Number one, we got Nikola Jokic at 65%.
Ooh.
Number two, we got Joel Embiid at 12.7%. Number three, we got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander at 8%.
SGA really has been balling this season. He
Number
has.
four, we have Therese Halliburton at 5.5%. We have number five is Giannis with 2.6%. Luca with 1.9%.
Mm.
Jason Tatum 1.4%. Tyrese Maxey 1.1%.
Maxey has
Kevin,
been playing good too.
he has. He really has. He
He really, ever
really
since that
has.
Harden trade, he has
Exact.
been
It's allowed
a
him to
whole
blossom
different
and
person.
spread his wings.
He has. He's been a whole different person.
Yeah. And then the last two, rounding out the top 10, KD at 0.9% and Anthony Davis at 0.7%.
Why the hell is AD on there? Why the hell is AD there? Does anybody want to tell me that? Anybody in the comments or watching, anybody that comment, do y'all want to tell me why the fuck is AD even in the top 10? Because as a Laker fan, this nigga ain't did nothing all season. Been pissing me the fuck off. Um, I love SGA being in that top 10 though. SGA's been balling his ass off this season so far, and it's been amazing to watch that young man come into his own this season for real. He's taken that leadership role and really turned up.
Who's that?
Uh
Maxi?
nah, SGA.
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, I think he had that leadership role like
Did he have it with
maybe,
the
I think
Clippers?
he had it. SGA? No, SGA's, he got drafted by the Thunder. I think he just grew into that role because that
No, no,
team was
no.
so
I thought
terrible.
SGA got drafted by the Clippers and got traded to the Thunder. He got traded in that Chris Paul trade.
Did
No. Yes.
he?
No. Yes. Yes. No. Hold on. He got
Um,
drafted by the Clippers though. I just forgot.
yeah, he did. He did. That was his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
he
then
played all 82 games that year. He started
and
73.
then
Yeah, he did. He sure did. You're right. You're
that's what I
right.
thought. And then he was in
You're
the
right.
trade, whatever that trade was between the Clippers and it was the
OKC.
I think it was the Chris Paul trade.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Let me look it up real quick. But that
Whatever.
was
But
the thing is he grew, to me, I think he grew into that role almost out of necessity.
he had
It's
to.
it's like being the tallest, the tallest kindergartner or something like that. Like you're still 6 or 5 or whatever the hell kindergartners are, but you're
But
like
you're
five
bigger
seven,
than everybody else.
right? So it's like he got that role simply because of
He's better than
there's
everybody
nobody
else.
else.
Yeah, like, all
There's
right, y'all
nobody
ain't step up.
else.
Somebody got to step up. Cool, I got this.
And it really allowed him to grow his game and to become the player he is now, the guy that we see now, putting up the type of numbers he is and being considered an MVP race and whatnot, simply because he was given the ball and it was like, hey, we got this really talented kid. Let's just see what we do. And we just give him the ball and let him go. And
Hmm.
it's worked out for him. And they've amassed like 3 million draft picks over the next 7 drafts or so, and
Hey,
they've already had like 60,000 over the last 4. So it's like they own the draft every year.
bruh, they are like Chicago right now. The way the Bears have like a million draft picks. They are. Well, I mean, Philly's been the same way the last couple of years too. The way they've been making those trades and having so many in the first round. But that's the way the Clippers have been. They'll get a vet, keep them for a little while, trade them, get a bunch of draft picks for them, and it's like I'm like, they GM he's a genius.
Man, the thing is you got him, you got Chet Holmgren, you've got
They've turned those picks into some money.
right. I
Uh,
mean, they've done a good job, and you still
Good
have
free
more
agents have
picks.
came in.
Right.
You got Giddy.
Finding Lou Dort, Giddy. That
I
guy.
mean, hey man, we're not going. Well, we can talk about it. I feel like if the reports are true, right, and he was 19 and he didn't know because he met her in a club, these situations to me are always iffy, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
as as an adult, as a man, ain't nobody checking no ID. If I meet you in a club, I'm naturally assuming you should be
Yeah.
here. I'm 19.
Right.
You look like you pretty much about my age, and girls nowadays look younger than what they are, even when they in their 30s.
And look,
And it's hard. But if I
it's
meet you in the club,
right.
I am assuming that, you know,
You're of age.
yeah. And it sounds like the parents knew afterwards because the way they're not cooperating with the police
That
lets me know that they knew,
something was up. When I saw that, I was like, nah, something up.
you
Something up.
know.
Something don't smell right, bro. Because you're not about to have a situation like this
I'll say
occur.
we recording.
And then
I kept it cool for that reason. For that reason.
KG,
I
that's
you
my
saw you
homeboy.
saw the way I was wording with it, right? I was moving slow through the words to make sure I didn't just I
Hey,
was like,
but
you know,
to
I
just put it
appreciate it. Thank you.
plainly, to just put it plainly, like it don't smell right. It ain't passing the smell test. Something going on.
Anytime the parents don't want to cooperate,
Something going on.
yeah, like,
Something
but
going
again,
on.
but again, he was 19. He met her in the club. That
Right.
part alone, I'm like, and that partly might be why the Thunder didn't act on it because it was like,
And that's
so
that thing right there,
it's
like
tricky. That one's tricky.
it is, and it's like if you think about it, if you not only if you meet this person in the club, party, environment, whatever it is, and you're thinking they're of age, especially if it's in an actual club. If you meet this person in an actual club or some sort of venue where you have to be of a certain age to get in, you're thinking that person is of age to get in. 9 times out of 10, if you're out partying and whatnot, you're drinking or under some sort of influence or something, but you're not thinking clearly because you're, getting after it. You doing whatever. You out having fun. Nobody's gonna say, "Hey, I need to see your ID."
That is never a question that comes up ever.
Like, let's be
And
real.
anybody who really
I'm
said, and to
and
me, anybody who sit there and be like, "I ask for ID," no, you don't.
and I'm not I'm
No,
not
you
I'm
don't.
not I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying
No,
that
not
it's
at all.
right or nothing
Not at
like
all.
that. But I'm just saying the circumstances seem pretty sketchy on both parts. And the thing about the parents not cooperating is extremely sketchy.
Right. That part alone is like, all right. It's one
That's
thing the police got involved, but then when the police start asking the parents, at first, remember we were talking about it, I was like, okay, I get why they didn't want to because their daughter's young. And a lot of times
mm-hmm,
parents want to protect their children from the media. The media is scary. The
mm-hmm.
media can be very scary. They can be very I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but for a young like person to deal with all that, it can be a lot. So I can understand the parents' protection side. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, on the other side of things, they knew about it. They didn't care.
They knew enough. They knew
Yeah.
something of enough to say that they could have
Like,
probably
hold on.
done something about it or whatever. You
My
know what I'm
daughter
saying?
bagged an NBA player? Hold on now. That's how that go.
And I'm not gonna say it
Sadly.
didn't, but
Sadly.
it probably is. It probably is simply because there's people that will look at that as an opportunity, not like a teaching moment for your child to say, hey, you're dealing with this, you're going through this, let me teach you something. But they look at that as an opportunity to capitalize on something in somebody in a situation like that. Unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. That's what happens. There's nothing you can really do about it. But um, I mean, it puts a damper on an otherwise exciting start to the NBA season.
Yeah.
And I've been excited about watching the NBA and watching college basketball this year, basically because of um, what was going on last year. And I got back into it and everything. I talked about this, I think, on the last episode, episode 8, maybe. Um, but I I just been paying more attention, been more focused on it and whatnot, trying to pay more attention to it. One of the craziest things that happened this weekend was all the upsets in college basketball.
Yes, man, Duke has been on a weird losing streak to a lot of people. Well,
Bro.
hold on. Before we get into college, hold on. I have to touch on Ime and LeBron.
Oh man, I can't thank you for not letting me forget that. Thank you for not letting me forget that.
Ime and LeBron. When that audio came out, so the video was one thing, right? Because we were all, I know everybody was like, all right, what the hell did they say to each other to get
Hey,
ejected?
bruh.
I'm like, that shit busted. Because Ime was calm the entire time, bro. He was talking shit, but was calm. Even when he got ejected, he didn't
Right.
go off.
He
He
was
just
chilling.
stood there for a second and then walked off.
Right.
Bron walked off.
Yeah.
But then I'm sitting there like, all right, so what the fuck, what was said? That audio came out, and I'm like, okay. But even when he was saying this shit, he still it's like this nigga was. How do you
He
cuss a
he
nigga out so
was
calm like that? I know I
he
do it.
was he
I
was
know how to
like
do it.
he was
Big
like
house.
he was almost like the audio comes out, right? And you can hear stuff, but when the camera was focused on Ime, I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Is he moving? Is he saying something? Or is this what is this? He was just that calm that he almost looked still. Like he almost wasn't moving.
Bro,
And
he was so calm with that shit.
he was so relaxed.
He was just
Very
like, man, yeah.
relaxed.
He was just like, man, y'all acting like some little bitches, man, for real. Like y'all niggas need just chill on out,
Bruh.
man. And he was just calm. And Bron just like, hey, man. Bron, they say the crazy thing was I didn't understand why Bron got the tech. I'm guessing it's because he walked up on the coach
Yeah.
because Bron really ain't say nothing crazy to him. Like it was really Ime. Bron was just like, hey man, just watch your mouth, man. You know, hey, don't be, don't use those words like that so loosely.
Yeah.
Da-da-da.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was chill too. So I didn't get why Bron got the tech, but I guess the ref was like because they were having a verbal back and forth, and I'm guessing he kind of told both of them, "A," and they kept going. It very,
That's the only
hey
thing that I
KG,
could think of,
it
man.
did, it did. It sounded very personal, and then when you go back, I think I retweeted it on my personal
What's
page.
up,
If I
house?
did, I gotta find it. Somebody had made like a highlight video of Braun dogging Ime from like his rookie year to when Ime's left.
Wow.
It's a highlight video of him dunking on him crossing him, and I'm like, oh, this makes sense now. This makes sense why he don't like that nigga. What he called him in the press conference? The player.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the player.
yeah. Me and the player had some words, and like, what the fuck is the player? I was like, oh, see, you really want to fight this man?
But see, I don't think it was because somebody uploaded some highlights or something like that. I just think Ime called LeBron out for crying about calls and stuff.
Yeah.
And LeBron didn't like how Ime called him out. And so they just having words. They not even demonstrative. They not like racing
Mm-mm.
towards each other. They nobody squared up. Nothing like that.
Nothing crazy. They didn't get nose to nose or nothing.
Exactly. Chest bumping and all. None of that. Like
Two big grown men having
they
a
was just
very
having a
calm
disagreement.
conversation.
They
Very
was just having a
calm.
disagreement. I mean, like we've had disagreements.
Yeah, I mean, we don't scream at each other. Well,
Yeah, like
some of
come
us,
on.
some of us do. We'll get it. We gonna get into that too. We gonna get into that too, boy. Can't
But
wait till we get
man,
there.
like I just looked and I was like, this is so stupid. This is why that we have these problems that we have is because you get these officials that come in and they want to interject themselves into the game. And you see it more often with like you used to see it more with baseball. And then basketball referees started, wanting to have personalities and stuff. And
The
then
octagon was so smooth.
hey, there's a story behind that. I'm not telling it today on this pod. That's an episode. That's another pod
I
for
might
another
put money
episode
on.
or something.
I ain't gonna lie. I might put money on Ime with that one.
Hey, you never
Hey,
know.
brother. Ime cheated on not on Nia Long. My money is on that man.
He crazy.
He crazy.
He crazy.
Well, he might
And
not be
that
that crazy. Well,
no,
maybe
he
I'm
crazy.
at. I'm gonna
He
tell Sloan
crazy.
bring us back on Sucio. We'll have to talk about that one because that's a Sucio boys talk. But a lot of these famous women, they not we put them up here because we regular niggas. We put them up here, but them famous niggas bring them right back down here and be like, nah, them bitches just regular bitches with money. That box is trash. I'm telling you, bro. It's I got
This
this.
is
I have a Jennifer Lopez theory, and I
oh
also have
boy,
a what's her name that I love
Holly
so much?
Berry.
Halle Berry. Thank you. You
I
know where I
already
was going
knew.
with this. I
I
have a
knew it.
J Lo and a Halle Berry theory. There is no way y'all done went through this many men. Yet
Hey,
y'all crazy. And the box is trash.
I'm gonna have to.
Crazy box. That's trash.
Hey, y'all won?
Sucio boy talk though.
Oh,
Oh,
they didn't win.
darn.
They was they played Chuck Hayes' son's team.
Okay. Okay.
I gave him a scouting report. I was like, Maddie, look here. Tell him to do this. Defend Dorian Hayes like this.
Mm.
I checked with my girl's son. I was like, hey, is this, like this? He was like, yeah, he don't like an aggressive defender. I said, see, I knew it from
I
watching
don't
him.
either. I don't either.
Bruh.
I don't
I'm
either.
I'm watching him and I'm like,
I hate them handsy niggas and the ones that be up. Oh,
look, because when they
turnover
back
city.
off of him and just spread wide, he'll pull up, and he
I'm
got
gonna
a
kill
nice
you.
little pull up, right?
I'm gonna kill you every time.
And but when you get up in his face and you get
I'm not.
physical with him,
I am not Steph Curry.
you don't like that. KG
Yeah,
asks Calvin. Calvin no, but
I am not Steph Curry. I'm not that. Put your hand right here and I'm gonna make it. Nope. My
nah.
game is.
But look, so looking at basketball and stuff, right? This NBA tournament is going to be interesting, and I think people are starting to feel it now that we've got down to the final, few teams, the final 8 teams now, soon to be 4. I think
Mhm.
people are starting to feel it, and I think because it kind of gives you that NCAA kind of feel where it's just one and done. It's no
I'm starting to
series
like
or
it.
nothing like that.
I'm starting to like it now. It's
Yeah,
like we said last week. It's just because it's the first year of it. It's
yeah.
different and it's a little weird.
It makes
But
you feel like
I'm
what's
a
going
soccer
on.
fan,
It's
so
taking to get used to it. It's gonna take people to get
yeah.
used to it. That's all.
And I'm a soccer fan, and soccer has like 50, depends on what league you in. They got 50. The Premier League got at least 5 different tournaments within the season.
Hmm.
Like you're playing, plus they might pull you for your international play. So it'd be like a bunch of stuff within stuff. So like I said, first year for it, I'm not against it. I've liked it so far. The games have been very competitive. I just think they got to figure out, other than the trophy and the money, add
Hmm.
something else to it. Like, let's say Indiana wins hypothetically, or even New Orleans. I'll use New Orleans because I feel like New Orleans might be, as far as like, might be a little bit of the lesser team of everybody, and the Knicks, but the Knicks are losing right now, so that I'm not gonna count them. But let's say
Yeah,
New Orleans
it's
wins.
over. Milwaukee won 146, 122. So it'll be the Bucks and the Pacers at 4 o'clock on. I think it's tomorrow. No. I'm sorry. On
Saturday,
Thursday.
Thursday,
Thursday.
four. Huh.
Semifinals are on Thursday. Championship is on Saturday.
Okay. So let's say a team like New Orleans wins, right? But let's say they win that tournament but don't make the playoffs. I feel like going down the line, you get an automatic playoff bid or something like that. No matter,
Yeah,
like you're
I'm.
automatically, you don't have to play in the play-in game, but you're automatically in the tournament. And then whoever wins the play-in game at the end has to play you. Something
I
like
think
that,
so.
maybe.
They need to have something where they basically get like a bye or
But it
something from the
but it
playoff. Like
also
they
it
need to
also
have
makes it
something.
tricky because let's say a
Or
Denver wins
okay,
this
okay,
tournament.
check this out. If you're, let's say if you're seated like, let's say, one of those play-in teams that you do have to play in or whatever, or something like that. What about like a home court advantage or something? Like
Yeah, something
something to
like that.
sweeten it up in the first round. Something to sweeten it up for that
Or
team, because that
I
it
like the
should be
trophy and
something.
I like the trophy and the 500K. I just feel like you need to up that money a little bit more. That's all. If you're gonna do the
Well,
trophy, because soccer just does trophy and money too. So
mhm.
you know what I mean. There's no like like for the Premier League, there's no extra seating or anything. It's just you won like the Caribou Cup. You won
Yeah.
the Caribou Cup in during the season, but it
But
doesn't
you
affect
also
the
you also
Premier
got to
League
think
standing.
about it
So
that half a mil is still really good money, and for the
no, it is.
majority of the players in the league, that's a
They not even
lot of
some of them
money.
not even them guys at the end of the bench ain't even getting that. So
I want to say,
is it 500K per person or is it 500K to the team and they split it between everybody? That
nah,
was
I
the one
think
part I didn't. Uh,
we're gonna look that up. But I wanted to real quick just hit on all the upsets of
there were
God
quite a
dang
few.
it, I keep hitting this stupid button, change the voice or whatever on here, but no, the league minimum
I
is
think it
one
went up.
point one. It's not 1.1. It's the first time the minimum salary has exceeded the $1 million mark. So it's 1.1 million for the league minimum. And you got to think about it. Most of those guys on those teams, when the team has a 15-man roster,
Mm,
are making somewhere around that league minimum, maybe a little bit more than that. So to win that tournament, you basically just got 50% of your yearly salary in a lump sum. So that's I mean it's something it's worth it. I'll say it's worth it for those guys. But real quick to touch on college basketball before we move on to football because we have so much to talk about with football.
on both
Um,
sides.
just real quick, we had Marquette, number 3, losing to Wisconsin 75-64.
Hmm.
We had number 7 Duke losing to unranked Georgia Tech 72-68.
And they lost to Arkansas earlier in the week, also, who was
Yep.
I forgot where Arkansas was ranked at the time, but that one was a shock. I watched that whole game. That was a shock.
We had UNC Wilmington unranked beat number 12 Kentucky 80-73. We had unranked Drexel beat number 18 Villanova 57-55. And I think that was the last of the top 25 upsets. So we had quite a few upsets this week, and I mean some crazy upsets, especially that Wisconsin Marquette game 75-64. Like I I knew Marquette still had a good team. I didn't realize how highly ranked they were going into this season. Here's why I'm kind of surprised, but not really surprised that Wisconsin won that game. Wisconsin is one of those teams, one of those programs that always keeps a steady diet of just good, smart, hard-nosed basketball players.
Nah, they definitely do.
They may not be the most athletic, the most talented, but they're going to be fundamentally sound. They're going to be physical, and they're going to play really, really hard.
I think Wisconsin and Indiana usually do.
Yeah, yeah,
Indiana always has really good guard play.
yes, yes. And it's just one of those things that you typically see from teams like that year over year over year, no matter how that program looks or who's coaching it. You just have a certain like makeup. It's almost like the Steelers. You know, the Steelers are going to run the ball. They're going to be physical and they're going to play tough defense. Um, like there's just certain teams like the Lakers have always been a flashy type of team
Hmm.
going back in the 70s and 60s when they had like Jerry West and Gil Goodrich and people like that. Like there's just certain teams that are associated with like a certain style of play.
Hmm.
And that's just the way it is in college basketball. Um I don't think there was anything like outrageous that happened on the women's side.
Nah,
Angel Reese came back.
I was about to say Angel Reese is back. And she's hey man, no, let's talk about because we haven't touched on it yet, but I looked at her stats the other day
Hmm.
and Juju has been I also said she was gonna do this. Juju's been killing it.
I
I'm
want to
talking about
say
she's had a third. I want to say she's only had. I just looked at this the other day because I seen it. I I might be off, and I'm about to look it up, but I think she's only had 2 games where she didn't score 30 points.
I believe you're right.
Um,
Cause she had that graphic that we had just saw that said she was the first woman since it may have been Cheryl Miller in UCLA history or whatever, but they said like she was the first one to score like 30 or more points in 3 of her first 4 games or something like that.
and I think like one game she scored 15. I think she scored 30 twice. Then she went 15. Then she went 30 and like the next three. Then she went 26. And then the last one or two has been 30. Like right now, she is averaging 26.8 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3.2 assists, and a 50.4 field goal percentage right now.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm
And she's
looking
been
at it right here.
killing it, killing it.
One,
Um,
two, three,
I
four. She's
watched
had 5 30-point games
okay, I
out of her one, two, out of
think
her
it was like
seven
7.
games.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought. Because
five
one
out
she
of
had
seven.
26, one she had 15.
Yeah.
So she's been killing. I watched the USC men play the other day too, and I gotta see how they look once Bronny comes back and like how they work him into that team.
hmm
Um, they don't look bad. They don't look
I
bad, but
missed the
they don't look.
Gonzaga game on Saturday. They lost by 13, but
I forgot who they
um
played when I watched. It wasn't the Gonzaga one.
no, you may have watched gosh, who was it? Because they showed some of the highlights because I want to say he was at the game or warmed up before the game or whatever. But in that Gonzaga loss, other good guard that they talk about a lot on that same team, Boogie Ellis had 28 and 7 in that
Yes.
same game. So like he's gonna pretty much establish himself as okay, here I am, I'm the guy, is my team. But when Bronny comes in, he's more of a like a perimeter defender, like 3-and-D kind of athletic kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he can also help set up stuff and make plays. So I think that he'll take a lot of that playmaking stress off of Boogie Ellis and let him be more of the off guard, the shooter, the scorer, and then take on more of that playmaking role. That's going to be cool to see once those kids get together because the class, like you've been talking about it for like the longest. USC's men and women's team
Yep. They
have
brought in some.
crazy good freshmen that they
Yeah, they
brought in.
they both brought in, and even not even the freshmen, even some of the portal, the ones that entered the portal once Bronny had committed,
hmm
like Dennis Robinson.
Yeah, that's right.
I forgot a lot of those players that they brought in were portal players. So, um, like I said, even on the women's side, there were so many good freshmen that came in this season. There's so many more coming in next season, just all
hmm
across women's basketball. Plus, you have the women that are graduating this year, going into the WNBA. I'm a firm advocate. I love women's basketball. I think the sport is growing immensely. I wish more people would watch so those ladies can get paid more because they really go out there and same as the men. They may not dunk, they may not give you what the men are giving you, but if you are into fundamental basketball with some flash in there, it's worth a watch. And you might get a dunk every once in a while. They're getting taller.
hmm
A lot of them are getting taller and more athletic.
Yeah, there's this one Canadian girl. I can't even
She's like
remember her name. She's like six
six.
two.
Oh no,
She's
see, I was talking about the other one that's like 6'10.
no, not that real tall one. I'm talking about the
Okay.
one she's like about 6'1", maybe 6'2", but she can dunk with ease,
Mm.
1, 2 hands, and she's dunked in games. And I want to say she's dunked on somebody before, high school girl. Um, and it's funny because she's got like the palest skin, like real blonde. Like she almost looks like she's really really skinny too. So she looks almost kind of. I can't even say she looks. She don't remind me of Elena Deladon because Elena Deladon has at least like a little tan, but like
She's like
she's
a like a
super pale.
like a female Seamus.
Yes, with blonde hair, with blonde hair. And I want to say she's Canadian, so it's no wonder why she pale because it's cold up there and they always be inside covered up. But
That's true.
man, but yeah, she that girl dunks with ease. Like if the next time I come across that video or whatever, I'm gonna have to shoot it to you so you can see it. But yeah, I know I've heard of this other tall one that you were talking about.
I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she's like really tall. I've seen the highlights of her dunking though,
Uh huh.
and she's flashy with it too. It ain't like she just tall and just go up there and just like she she
Man, see, I thought she was like maybe
she
like
be putting
Brittany
it down.
Griner's height, like 6'7",
Nah,
6'8", maybe. So
I
she's
think she
taller than
taller.
that.
Yeah, and
Damn.
Brittany don't be having no flash with it.
Jesus.
Her or
No,
Candace. Candace never really had it flash with it either. It
no,
was just
and the thing
little
is,
rim grazers.
yeah, Candace about 6'4". So you think, okay, if she could get up there, she can get up there. She probably just gonna be able to dunk it real good. You know, Lisa Leslie type. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Just enough to show that hey, I can dunk.
because that's what Lisa was. Lisa was just a
Right, right, right.
little rim grazer, nothing crazy.
And then you saw Brittany Griner, and it was like, okay, she could do it one or two hands, and it was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool.
And Candace started doing it. Candace was like, "Oh, I can do
And,
that
and
too."
then wait, then you start seeing like some of these other girls, and I'm like, wait a minute, like they starting to come with it, like you
Yeah,
know,
man. They start getting a little bounce and start
man,
windmilling
look.
and rocking the cradle when they going up. It's gonna be. We start having a women's dunk contest, and this is legit. Or the women dunking with the men.
Hey, bro, look, it's
Listen,
getting crazy, but
I just need a woman to dunk over a car like Blake Griffin, and it's a wrap.
I don't think we're gonna get that for a while. I don't think we're gonna get that for a while,
It's
but
fine. I got two coming up. I got it. We about to.
hey,
We are never skipping leg day. Let me tell you,
look, listen, leg day is a must.
it's
Is a
important, guys.
must.
Don't skip leg day.
But I don't know. Would you want to hit the NFL or you want to hit college football first?
Oh man, let's do NFL because I feel like that's not gonna be as long as college
Nah, it won't.
football.
But we like okay.
There was some upsets too in
Remember,
NFL though.
remember
Those
when I
last
said when we
those
talked
two
about the
games,
when I
those
talked
last
about
two
the
games Sunday.
Cowboys schedule, and
Hmm.
I said the Seahawks have a chance to beat the Cowboys.
You did, and they almost did it.
Look, did they, bruh,
And
they
I'm not gonna
escaped with
lie,
that one. They
we got
escaped
them
with
in.
that one.
We got them in 2 weeks. Cowboys this weekend. You hit that button. I swear to God, I saw you when you looked over. Uh, Cowboys this weekend. Seahawks the week after. But the Seahawks play really well. Like DK.
Bruh.
So
Uh,
that DK is who I have been wanting since he got to Seattle.
He has 6 for
He
134 and 3
doesn't
touchdowns.
show up every week, and I'm like, why? You had Russ
Yep.
there, you still ain't show up. Now you got Gino, who's not Russ, but still has a really great arm, as we saw
Mm-hmm.
Sunday. You
Mm-hmm.
still ain't showing up. Like, what's up, bro? You don't want to be here no more? And if
But
that's the case, cool. Ask for a trade or a release
I,
or something.
I
But
will I will be honest
if
with
he
you.
shows up like that and they get a solid running game, Noah
Mm-hmm.
Fant shows up, like they have no choice but to win.
I'll be honest with you, and I tell my son this all the time because he's a Seahawks fan. He got into the
Wow.
Seahawks when Legion of Boom and Marshawn and all of
See, I
that.
like
Like,
them. I was a fan before that with Sean Robinson. When
wait, when they had what's his name, Sean Alexander,
Sean Alexander, sorry, not Robinson.
Matt Hasselbeck
Michael Robinson was the fullback.
was the fullback, right? And then you
Yeah,
had damn that receiver.
that was
He
my
was like
team.
5'10". Doug
That was like
Baldwin. Doug
yeah,
Baldwin.
that was my second favorite team after I've always been an Eagles fan,
Mm-hmm.
but I liked that Seahawks team. It was something
Yeah.
about that Seahawks team I always liked. And Sean Alexander was one of my favorite running backs. So I've always been like a Seattle fan, and then also an Eagle fan at the same time. So
I
it's
used
the
to hate
birds.
Sean Alexander because he's an Alabama guy and he used to run
Ah,
all over LSU. So I used to hate. I like
there's
I
a lot of
have
Alabama guys you hate then, huh?
I'm not like some of these sports fans where it's like that sports hate runs so deep to where it evolves from sports hate to like you really like you need to seek help
Yeah.
because you acting out and this is not good for you. More on that later. But it's like that's a tease because I'm a professional. But like you there's some people just like I'll grow a healthy respect for a person, right?
Is that the is
Like
that the rent? Is that the rent?
it's coming. It's coming.
Ah,
It's coming. But I don't
go
I
ahead.
don't know yet. But it's just like some of y'all just be way too wild for me. And I
Yeah.
can't deal. Like you need to bring it down a little bit. Bring it down a little bit. But one of the other games that really caught my eye this weekend for all the wrong reasons, was the Chargers and the Patriots.
Oh yeah. 6-0? Really?
This was basically the Padres playing the Red Sox, and the Padres won 6-0. I
Six
believe Manny
zero.
Machado hit a 3-run homer. I want to say Fernando Tatis Jr. had a 2-run double, and there was a run scored on a wild pitch, and it was 6-0. Padres over the Red Sox. Bruh,
Yeah. That game
six
was
zero.
horrible. I thought the Miami Washington one was worse, but it was from a just a game standpoint. 6-0. I'm like, was it a defensive battle for it to be 6-0? Or
But
just on
here's the
both
thing:
sides,
when you see the
everybody sucked.
yeah, but when you see oh, what up, Corey? I think that's Corey. Who is that? Coffee and Kicks. I don't know, but hello to you too. But when you saw that Dolphins Commanders game, right?
I don't
You
know why,
saw
but
60 points scored.
I feel like that's Mimi, and I don't know why. I just have
It
this
could
like
be Mimi. I'm not
I think it
whoever
is.
this is. Hello to
Tell
you,
me it
Coffee
is.
and Kicks. I think that is Mimi.
Jay, that's
Yeah,
why
it
it made sense
is.
to me. That's
See?
right. It made sense. I can't put my finger why that made sense, but I saw the retweet and then
Yeah.
I was like,
Bruh,
Mimi.
like I'll be forgetting. Like I'll be forgetting all the time. Like I'll be having the reminders for like little stuff and I still forget. But like when you see that game, that Dolphins, at least you had 60 points scored.
Right. Right.
The other game had six.
Like so I didn't watch it. Was it I looked at the highlights with a little bit of highlights there were. Was it a defensive battle
Bro,
or did the
I'm a
game just suck?
it sucked. I'm gonna
Okay.
put it to you like this.
There was a shocker on Sunday to me too, but we'll
There
get into that.
was there was a
Touch that.
combined total yards of 498 between the two teams.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. One team had 148 rushing yards, the other team had 29. One team had 212 passing yards, the other team had 109. So it was like one, we can run the ball, but we can't pass for shit. The other one, we can pass the ball, we
We
can't
can't
run for
run for
shit.
shit.
That is what you got. And wait, the craziest stat out of all of this in that game that was 6-0.
It was a
This
worse
lets you
start
know
this
how
weekend.
bad the offense was. And I can't say it was the defense. I don't know if there was only one turnover all game. One.
Well, dang.
One.
So that's not. I don't
I'm
even
gonna
know.
have to go back. Honestly, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that
I'm a.
whole game or like
I think
the
I am too.
truncated version or something, just to see was this bad offense or good defense.
So I know on YouTube the NFL always drops like on Sunday, and they usually leave it up. Um, they give you the highlights of the game pretty much. Like
Mm-hmm.
it'll be like Chargers, Patriots, and then it'll have like the highlights for the most part. But yeah, that one was I don't know. That Jaguars game made me sad though, man. They lost Christian Kirk off the first pass of the game.
Bruh. And
Freak accident play.
It
I'm
was
watching it like
crazy.
I'm watching it, and as they keep showing the replay, I'm like, what did he do? And then and it won't. It really wasn't that bad because at first the analysts were saying it was when he turned. It was how he turned in the air and landed.
Hmm.
But I'm like, it didn't even in real time, even in slow motion, it still didn't look that bad. But apparently, it's season
Exactly.
season ending, and he needed surgery. So
Yeah, it was I believe it was a core muscle tear.
yeah,
If you go back and kind of watch the replay, he runs upfield and it's like he running a quick curl or a comeback route, right? And it almost looks like as he plants either to come back or when he plants to turn and run, he just killed over. Right
yeah, it
after
was.
he caught the ball or
He went
whatever, he
up
just
and he turned, and as he was
yeah,
turning, his
he
it was
just
weird. It was like how
yeah,
he
it
landed with
was
his legs, and it was they almost lost Trevor Lawrence for the season. It was a high ankle sprain. He may miss Sunday, but he actually had this same injury last season and played through it
mhm,
just fine. So um,
that's
I
good.
think he may be a game time decision, but he also I saw those reports today. He probably won't be out too long. So
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, man, because his own offensive lineman caused him to get rolled up.
yep,
Um, Walker Schmidt, I believe is his name. He's a Houston
I think it
kid. I believe
was.
he went to Kincaid. But the left tackle, he was. I mean, he was pass blocking. He got pushed into his quarterback. He stepped back, and it's a freak accident. That kind of thing
Yeah,
just happens.
both plays were free accident plays, to be honest.
Yeah.
So luckily they don't lose their quarterback. They did lose one of their key wide receivers, but the great thing about that offense, they have so many weapons, and Christian Kirk is a huge piece of it. So I don't want to downplay it like, them losing him isn't that major, but it just forces those other receivers to step up. Calvin Ridley's been having a resurgence.
Yes.
He
He's
stepped
up
up
for
big
comeback
time.
player of the year as well.
Yeah, he's been killing it on my fantasy. Thank you, sir.
The one that you mentioned,
No, no, no. That was just the first name that came to my mind, though. But like, because he really has been having a great
he,
season, and even that game, he had an amazing game after Christian Kirk went down. So, Ingram has stepped up a lot. The run game with Etienne, Etienne has been playing really good too. So, hopefully, like I said, Trevor Lawrence isn't out for too long. Hopefully, he might just miss this week. They do have a couple. They have a key game coming. Every game for them is key from this point going forward.
mhm.
So
Hey, shout out to also Zay Jones who had 5 catches for 78 yards. I knew it was somebody
Zay,
else on
Zay is
that
the other
team.
person. Yeah, Zay and so really with Christian coming out, it's really gonna be Zay and Ridley on the outsides. You still got Ingram at tight end, and they're gonna.
Hmm.
I think they're gonna be fine. Like I said, they still got enough weapons where it's like Christian Kirk going down isn't gonna hurt them. Tank Dell also got hurt this weekend. Houston
Man,
lost him for the season.
Parker Washington was the other receiver, their rookie out of Penn State, who had a good game.
Yeah.
He reminds me kind of a little bit shorter version of Debo Samuel. Yes, Mimi, we're very serious about fantasy football.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Um,
Playoffs
I
coming
be
up.
forgetting to set my lineup though. Like this week, I was in Sam's and we was on the live, and Keyz was like, "Hey, don't forget to set y'all lineup." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it," and then I didn't do it.
Smoked his
But
boots last week because he didn't set the line. It's crazy.
I
I
be
ain't even feel good about the win. It's
Bruh,
crazy.
it's like I'll be getting in this. I'll be like, oh, I gotta set my lineup, and then I'll be going to the store or cooking or watching the games or doing something or whatever, and then like, I'll be like, it'd be like 1:30, and I'll be like, oh damn, I forgot to set my lineup. Like my homeboys at work that we even pay to be in that league. I was like, bro, I'm gonna just give you the money because I done screwed it up this season. Like I just give up. I know what I did wrong. Like it
Take
is
my
what it
$40,
is.
sir. Just go and
You
take
know,
it.
like just here, take it. But
What
what was
else
the
happened
game? You
Sunday?
said there was another shocker this weekend.
So before we get to the one I really don't want to talk about, we'll talk about that one last. Because I have good, I have good things to say about the game. I'm not that fan, but Green Bay shocked and beat the Chiefs. That was the
Bruh,
shocker to me. And I don't know
that
why
one
it was a shocker because Green Bay actually they're on a 5 game now winning streak.
that but see, and
And
this
I don't
is
know why that shocked me, but maybe
they
because it's the Chiefs.
it's I think I think people are still having that. This is Andy Reid, this is Patrick Mahomes, these are the Chiefs. They're supposed to put up 30, 40 and be
3 of their
good.
losses this season, even though the Lions are a top team, but they lost to
Mm-hmm.
the Lions and nobody thought they would. The Raiders got
Yep.
them in Vegas, and now
Caught
they
them
have
off guard.
lost. Now they've lost to Green Bay in Green Bay, and it was a fourth one because
Their I think their
I
worst
forgot who the fourth one was.
their worst no, they beat the Raiders. It
I thought they
was the
lost to the Raiders.
Broncos. The
It was
Broncos
the
with that
Broncos. Sorry,
24-9. That game when it was just
it was
like
the Broncos
what the
because
that's when
that
everybody was
started the
like
Broncos winning streak up until this weekend when they
that
just
kind of
lost.
like I think it was out of that game or the game before that where the Broncos started their winning streak. But whatever game it was, when that game happened, that everybody was like, "Oh, wait a minute, Denver might actually have something."
They're
But they've
beating who they're
wasted the
supposed to
first
beat.
part of their season, so nobody
Oh,
thought that that game meant anything until
I
now.
know, I know who the fourth loss was to. Philly. Philly. That's who it
Yeah,
was to.
because remember, we talked about that when MVS dropped that touchdown pass.
Yeah, where they should have beat us, to be completely honest.
that
Should
that
have won
right
the game.
there was I mean, I'm not gonna point at him and say that's why they lost the game,
No, but that
but
catch, wide open. My coach has always said, if your fingertips touch it, catch it.
you're supposed to hang on to it.
Because
You're
it was
supposed
two
to
weeks
hang
in a
on
row
to
where
it.
Philly it was that 2 weeks in a row where Philly should have lost. The Buffalo one that went into
Hmm.
overtime, it should have never went into overtime,
Yep.
and then the Chiefs one, and then again we'll get into what happened Sunday. But yeah, that Green Bay and Chiefs game was Green Bay has been stepping up. I think Jordan Love is finally becoming who Green Bay thought he was or knew he was on their side. I ain't gonna say thought. He's coming into what Green Bay knows he is. They just wanted everybody else to see it. His weapons are the weapons that he does have are getting healthy. Um,
Hey,
they're just clicking.
If Christian
They're
Watson
clicking,
can become more consistent for him as a target down the field,
and I
just
love it because
anywhere.
they're young. They're young and they're
Yes.
growing together,
Yes.
and I love that.
I need Christian Watson to be more consistent because
Hmm.
he'll have a game where it's like 6 catches, 98 yards, and a touchdown. And he's very consistent and reliable. And then he'll have a game where he gets 4 targets, but only gets 1 catch. 2 of them are miscommunication where he runs the wrong route, and then the other one he may drop. So it's like you get that up and down, that inconsistency from him where one game he looks like a wide receiver one, another game it looks like he must be the fifth receiver because there's no way in hell we let this guy play. Like he just needs to be more consistent. But Love has actually
He's been playing
he's
amazing.
he's been playing really good. And I mean he hasn't like just blown the doors off
Yeah,
with
it's
these great
still
numbers,
yeah,
but
it's
he's
not like
been
some Aaron Rodgers who yet, but because
right.
when Aaron came in, it was Brett Favre who. Like we got that immediately. It was Brett who.
You could see from the
We don't
throws that
miss
he was
Brett.
making, like, okay, I think we're gonna be all right.
Yeah, definitely. So,
I just don't see where
um,
anybody got that feeling from Jordan Love initially, but I think they're starting to get that feeling.
I mean, I would say that the Packers felt it. Um, that's all I say. They felt it. They felt it enough to allow Aaron to walk or trade in a sense. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was any other before I get to that last one. Monday night game was a good one. Bengals and Jaggers. I mean, other than the injuries, the game itself was still good.
Yeah,
Um, Rams Browns was okay. 36-19.
it is what
Bucks
it
and
is.
Panthers was what
Puka Nakua got hurt in that game too. The
he
stud
the
late round
rookie
rookie. Yeah,
he
he
did.
got hurt in that game. I believe it was a rib injury
Hmm.
that he got hurt on that game.
Cardinals beat the Steelers. Not shocked. I'm not shocked because the
I'm not
Steelers are
shocked
so
either. I'm
They're
not
so
shocked
up and
either.
down. And to be honest, the Cardinals have a good team. They actually have a good team. It's just they
When Kyler Murray is on his game
right. They are
and they can
they're
get
hard
that
to beat.
exactly, and when they
They're
can
hard to
get
beat.
that run game going and he can make plays outside of the pocket off schedule like he's known to do, that's when that team gets more dangerous. And James Conner had 25 for 105 and 2 touchdowns for him. So the fact that Murray only threw for 145 yards and 1 touchdown, it did not matter as much. He didn't need to throw for 350 and 4 scores because the run game carried it for him. Kenny Pickett got hurt in that game,
Yep,
which
he
we're
did.
tallying up. I want to say in the AFC
Um,
playoff picture, as
in the
of
AFC
right
North,
now, 4 out of the 7 AFC playoff teams are playing with backup quarterbacks or could play with backup
the
quarterbacks this coming
entire
Sunday.
the AFC North outside of the Ravens is playing with backup quarterbacks right now.
Bingo. Bingo.
Let's pray for Lamar, okay?
Hey,
um,
Baltimore, wrap him up in bubble wrap
right.
now.
Colts and Titans was a really I watched that. That was actually a really good game. Went down uh field goal winning kick by the Colts. Gardner Minshew. So we haven't talked about this enough, but I even before he had came to Philly, when he was still with Jacksonville, when Minshew Mania was going on and everything,
Mm-hmm.
I was a fan of Minshew. I was like, yo, this guy has something. Just Jacksonville's not the team because at that time, if you remember, they had like five, they were drafting quarterbacks like Philly be drafting power forwards every year and
Mm-hmm.
centers. When the 76ers were like just drafting and drafting. But the Jaguars were doing the same. They just every year they were just grabbing quarterbacks. And Gardner was supposed to be in the future, and then I think that was right. Who did they get right before Trevor Lawrence? It was a guy that they ended up sending to San Fran. Because they got rid of him and Gardner back to back. I really can't think of his name, but I like Gardner then. And when he came to Philly, I said I like him as a backup. I love it because at the time Carson kept getting hurt, and I was like, and this is before we had got because we brought Gardner in twice. But I've always been a fan of Gardner. I've watched him and I like his game. He's a game manager. I still he's definitely not a I don't know. This season he showed that he can be a starter. That he still can be a starter in the league. I think he's good for the Colts. Of course, they still have their future with their rookie quarterback who's hurt right now, done for the
Mm-hmm.
season. But I think Gardner's making it like, hey, this offseason gonna be interesting.
He's Gardner Minshew is one of the perfect backups. He because he's not gonna
He's
come
always
in
ready.
right. He's always ready. He's reliable. Availability is your best ability, as they like to say.
Uh-huh.
Um,
And there's no drop off, in my opinion. Actually,
exactly,
if it
exactly.
really looked like the team got better. Like I'm not knocking Anthony Richardson. He's a
Mm-hmm.
rookie. He played great himself. But I feel like the team looked better with Gardner Minshew at the helm than they did with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
And I like
Uh,
Richardson. I told y'all I like when we were going into the draft and we were talking about it. I thought Richardson was the steal of the draft, in my opinion. And the Colts, I think by the Colts, him going to the Colts, it was perfect because it
I
was
think
either
that
them or
they'll be able to
Seattle.
figure out something to do with him. Dre says Jordan Love doesn't trust Christian Watson. He also
I
says
can understand that.
restating his point about the Texans making the playoffs and CJ Stroud. Like I told him, he said CJ Stroud for Rookie of the Year, but when you look at the MVP race, Stroud is actually like I want to say top 5 or 6 betting
Hmm.
favorites to win the MVP.
Yep,
So
he
Rookie
could
of the
pull
Year
both.
is like it's pretty much his offensive Rookie
Yeah,
of the Year, but
with Puka going down now,
exactly that's gonna put him like right there and Tank his teammate Tank Dell, his
and
one of
then
his
Tank
favorite
went down
targets.
also. So yeah, that's pretty
Uh,
much his at this point.
it's
Long as nothing crazy happens to him or just stats wise, he's pretty much got that one in the bag already
yeah.
at this point now.
Mimi said, "Do we watch all the games? Kind of, sorta. You could say. We don't watch all of
So
them, but we know about all of them.
I don't watch all of them. I watch the more key matchups that I feel are interesting to watch,
Yeah.
and then I just catch the YouTube highlights between
Hmm.
Sunday and Monday going. Or we usually record Tuesday and Wednesday, so like somewhere between Monday
Sunday night and like
Monday, like
Monday.
Monday, and then maybe if we record on Tuesday,
Yeah.
early Tuesday, then I'll catch like go back and watch like highlights and stuff and take my notes.
Yeah.
So
Like I had an article I had
it's
wrote.
a lot of sports to watch, Mimi. It's a lot of sports, man.
Yeah, I
So
told my editor, I think it was like Sunday right after the Texans game. I was like, hey, I could write this. He was like, all right, bet. I was like, he was like, save that for this, do this. I was like, all right, cool. Like, when you want the other one this week? Okay, cool. So I'm like, okay, I know when I have to write this, I know when I have to write this one. Like, so in between all of that, like, okay, take care of watching this, this, and this, or keep an eye on this, this, and this. And it's like you just gotta make time for it, make a schedule. And a lot of the times it's sacrifice. You sacrificing
yeah.
time and this and that to keep up with everything because, but like they say, if you do something you love, you're really not working. So we just
And
trying to put that into practice.
luckily, my kids like sports because
Hmm.
they'll, and they're also young enough where they just sit with me and watch whatever I'm watching. They
Tetris,
enjoy.
yes, Tetris with time, yes.
So, who else?
It,
Who else? Before I get to that
um,
game, I don't want to talk about Falcons and Jets. That went
bro, you
kind of
keep putting
I
it
thought.
off. Let's just,
Nope,
I
nope.
mean, just
Lions and
peel the
Saints.
scab off, dog.
Nope.
Just peel the
Lions and
scab off.
Saints. I knew the Lions would win that one. All right, we talked about it. Oh, Dolphins and Commanders. Dolphins went. Dolphins said it looked like a home game up in Washington. I think
Hmm.
everybody's game looks like a home game in Washington. So, all right, let's talk about it. All right, the Eagles, we sucked. We sucked, man. 49ers did exactly what they were supposed to do. And we talked about this. I said,
Yep.
you're not nobody's going undefeated. Like it's hard. It's the hardest thing to do in football. I mean, basketball is hard too, but it is the hardest but almost easiest thing to do in football is to go undefeated. We're still having an amazing season, 10-2. Um Still number 1 in the NFL after losing. Our D-backs just couldn't tackle. They could not tackle. They couldn't tackle nothing.
Bruh,
The
it was
linebackers couldn't
it was
tackle.
crazy. It was
Debo was
crazy.
just running through tackles. Like they were playing flag football. That's what it looked like. Cause Debo, they were like, he just CMC, Ayuk. It was like what the and it was good until the second half. It was very close in the first half.
Yeah, it
Um,
was 14-6 at halftime.
yeah, it
It
won't
was
bad. Like
looking like because I'm looking
and
at this
usually we
game.
suck in the first half. That's us all season. And Brandon Graham said something on Twitter. He had a quote, and he was, I don't want to, I don't know it word for word, but it was just pretty much like we have been getting by all season, and it finally caught up to us. We finally
Hmm.
got, and that's the what he said was perfect because, and we've talked about this. We should have lost the Chiefs game. We should have lost the Bills game, the Dallas game. It's been a couple more where we should have honestly lost, and we've just been getting by on luck, and luck finally ran out.
And this
And I think we needed that. You needed that humble pie. Sometimes you in a fight, sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth. Sometimes you have to get just punched in the mouth, and that's what happened to us. The
here,
49ers
well,
punched us in the
here's
mouth, and
here's
they owed
another
us one.
thing.
They owed us
Here,
one from the NFC Championship last year. So,
here's another thing too.
congrats for your regular season win. It
Here's
don't count.
another thing. I have been saying the same thing about Georgia all season long. And Dre, I know if you're still listening or watching, I know you don't want to hear this, and I know
Oh, I
I've been
missed it.
saying it,
It was
but
Blake Bortles also. That was the quarterback that was there with Minshew that got sent to
yes,
the 49ers. It was
yes,
Blake Bortles. They drafted
yes,
him, and then Minshew went to the back burner because they swore Blake Bortles was going to be.
but I can't remember the sequence of events or whatever. I know I want to say he came and took over for Bortles.
Bortles got hurt. Bortles was the guy. Bortles got hurt. Minshew came in, and when Bortles got healthy, they put Bortles back in. I'm okay with the Georgia loss. Ain't gonna rage. We ain't getting there yet, man. God,
We keep teasing
we
it,
not
but
there yet.
chill.
Let me get
But
through this
like,
crying. I'm crying
here's
right
the thing with this game though. Like we kept saying, Philly has flaws, and
now.
even
Yep.
though they still have the best record, like they need to
We're not
shore
the
up those
and I said,
flaws,
and I was
or
very
else
honest
they're
by
gonna get
saying
got. And like you said, they got. The
it
team
was our
came in
time.
with a game plan, and they executed that game plan. They played to their
Now
strengths, and their strengths were, basically let's take advantage of the Eagles' weaknesses, and it just merged into 1 point, and then you get 42-19.
now
But
I feel bad for Dallas. I really do. I think, and I like Dallas. I ain't gonna say I like that. I don't. Woo. But I feel bad for Dallas because coming off of the fact that they're the next team, coming off of the 49er game, with us getting Darius Leonard, it's I think we shored up that linebacker room a little bit more. I think the D backs, I think Darius Slay is definitely gonna get in those D backs face. Hopefully he does. I'm hoping Darius Slay does what he's supposed to do as a defensive captain, and he's like they're doing tackling drills all week. That's what
but
if I'm a coach on the defense, we are doing tackling drills all week.
but the other thing too, and I know you say the Cowboys probably gonna catch it, and they're fired up, and they know what they need to
They
do.
may
They
not. We
know
may
they
lose
know
two
what
in a
they need
row.
to do. They know
We
what they
could
need
lose.
to do.
We honestly could lose two in a row, and I'm not mad at that either
Right.
because you can't win. There are certain games you want to win,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't win every game. And as long as we either one stay number one going into the playoffs, or at least two, I'm fine because the playoffs is when it matters. That's when
Yeah.
that's when you don't have another week to play again.
Well, the thing
So
is they're in a position right now where they're 3-0 in the division. The
we could
Cowboys
lose
have
to
a loss.
Dallas, beat the Giants twice, and still be good.
Exactly. So you want to make sure you stay at least a game ahead of them in the conference. And right
And
now,
I don't see us
conference
losing. I don't see
Eagles
us
are
losing
six
to the
and one in the
Giants.
conference. Cowboys are 6-3 in the conference.
And the rest of our games are all conference games.
Right. So you
Dallas,
you you have a
Seattle.
way to get a leg up on them.
Who is it? Dallas, Seattle, the Giants twice, and
The Cardinals.
Cardinals. Yeah. That
It's
Cardinals one is a
Cowboys, Seahawks, Giants, Cardinals, Giants.
yeah, and I would definitely not losing to the Giants twice or at all. So
Bro, the
I ain't
Giants
worried
have
about that.
I've been so disappointed in that team because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of drank the Kool-Aid of them making the playoffs last year and seeing Saquon come back healthy, Danny Dimes has a
I
contract and
thought
everything.
Danny Dimes was going to be a lot better. I
Bro, I we and we
thought he
I
was the
wanna
third
say
Manning. Thought he
I
was the
wanna
third Manning
say
brother.
I want to say we were talking about this like in the offseason, thinking that the Giants, because we kept talking about, okay, it's between the Eagles and the Cowboys, but the Giants could blah blah blah. If the
It's
enemy gets that
Washington.
offense going, they could blah 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 with Sweat and Young and
I'm gonna be honest. It's looking like the enemy is either about to take over for Rivera because I don't think Rivera is going to be there past this season.
I don't think so
But
either.
also, I've seen the little stuff where the Bears are like, "Hey, the enemy, hey, big head, what you doing?"
Exactly, and that's what's so crazy about this is that
He's
they're
gonna get that
openly
head coach.
like
Like
considering another
it's like,
coach. And they didn't even
but hold
fire
on.
their
But
coach.
the crazy thing is though, he's up in Kansas City, and that offense is amazing every year. And yeah, he gets the interviews,
Mm-hmm.
but no job. But now he go to Washington, and the offense has been better. It's been a lot better. So I guess that's why because he went somewhere else, and it's like, it won't Andy Reid. Maybe it really was Eric, because the Washington offense has looked good. They don't have the best record overall because of the defense,
Mm-hmm.
but offensively they have looked better. The run game, The receivers, Dotson has been playing good. Scary Terry, Sam Howell has been looking great. So it's like, okay, maybe Eric really is a genius. So now he's getting those looks now, like, all right, well, maybe we really do need to make him a head coach now. But it's like
Yeah.
he should have been one. He
Well,
should have been one like 3 seasons ago. Hell, I wanted him to come to Philly before we got who we got.
Sirianni.
Yeah, I like Sirianni though, and I'm glad
But
he didn't. But
here's the thing: from what I know of people that I trust that talk about the process and whatnot, they said it wasn't necessarily all the old, uh, like the 89, 90, 91, whatever, when he was at Colorado with his sexual assault allegations. It wasn't anything legal from his past. It's been more about the interview process and stuff like that. And also the perception that it's Andy Reid behind that Chiefs offense, not necessarily Eric Bieniemy. So what's happened is that
because he was supposed to get the Houston job before it was
he
between
he wasn't.
before D'Amico, not
I
this
put it to
season,
you
but
like
even
this:
before. I remember.
he wasn't even. I don't even think he interviewed, because at one point they had for one of the coaching hires recently. I know they had like a firm or something, and then for some other ones they've had like just Casario and the McNairs huddling up and seeing what they're going to do. And it wasn't Bieniemy. It was actually Brian Flores was one that they were going to look at, but then he started suing everybody, and they were like, "Got to back off of that."
And you know the NFL is that fraternity. The owners are in a fraternity.
Yep.
It's a good old boys club. We know how to go.
And they kind of went a different direction, but
I like the D'Amico hire though. The D'Amico hire was perfect for them.
D'Amico
Perfect.
is, and I think I
Perfect.
wrote this last week or maybe week before last, but I did write something about him being the coach of the year candidate going away. Like,
I was just about to say, yeah, I think
was
that
that
is
last week?
pretty wrapped up as in his.
I think this was last week. Let me look for it right quick. But yeah,
I seen
I'm
because I
just
saw
seeing
the
it.
Panthers. Panthers are thinking about in the offseason, they're looking at Kellen Moore with the
That
Chargers,
article came out yesterday.
which I don't know about that one. I don't know about Kellen Moore head coach wise. I need to see him as a coordinator maybe another year with the Chargers before
Mm-hmm.
he
Bro,
because I
I'd
don't
be
think
writing
he
stuff and be forgetting that I wrote it. I swear, because I was looking for the D'Amico article and I saw this other one. I couldn't remember when it went. But I wrote the D'Amico article about what he's building with the Texans. It was November 25th.
okay.
I
I
couldn't
like what
remember
he's
when.
doing. This is year one, and I mean CJ came in gunning. They'll get Tank Dell back. Hopefully at a good point next in the off season to be ready for the season. The run game is looking good.
It's starting to
Defense
look
is look.
better
I like the
because
NFC South right now.
they're giving
It's
Singletary the ball more in his zone run scheme. And I think
Tennessee is
Pierce is
in
starting to pick
rebuild.
up
That's
on
the
it.
only thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. Tennessee is in rebuild, but I mean all of them are. I ain't gonna say but they're in rebuild
They're in
because
different state. Like the Jags are like,
the Jags are
okay,
there.
we're just about finished. We just have to like paint, and that's it. The
Houston,
Texans are like, we got a little more work to do, but we're further along than we thought.
right?
The Colts are
It
like, we got work to do, but we got this one major component. It's
I
on
think
back order now.
I think Colts have work to do on the defense.
They
Offensively, I think they got everything. They got the quarterback. They need to work on the
honestly,
O line.
I think
They got the
they
running back.
have. I think they have work to do on both sides
I think it's more the
because
O line on the other side though. They got the receivers.
I think it's. I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch them more
I
closely
like I
without
like
Anthony
Michael Pittman.
Richardson again.
Right, because I like Michael Pittman. I like the running game. Jonathan Taylor is a dog, of course.
Okay,
It's
but
that
outside
it's
of
that
Pittman,
O
who are
line.
your receiving threats?
Don't quote me because I'm not a Colts fan, but I can tell you. Hold on, let me
That
look.
that the thing is that's the one thing where I think Indy needs some help. I think Pittman is solid, but I don't think he's a wide receiver
Okay.
one. I wouldn't consider him a wide
Um.
receiver one.
So they got Pittman. They got Josh Downs, who's been playing really well. Alec Pierce has been playing pretty good, and then they got Isaiah McKenzie and Jawan Winfrey. I do think they need one more. They need to go out and either draft and I would say with that young Richardson, it's either you draft a really good young wide receiver with
Mm-hmm.
that first round,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not going to go O line or whatever, or you entice one of those vets to come with that money.
You know who would look good there, but I would hate it for the Texans? Mike Evans.
With the Colts.
Yep.
Oh, him with that young arm with Anthony
Yep.
Richardson. Yeah,
Yep. And
10,000
and wait,
yard seasons.
on top of that, think about him and Pittman as the wide receivers blocking on the outside for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't forget about that aspect of it because
I think Mike Evans is definitely. I don't. I feel like he's a. I feel like if the money's right, which so far has been, I don't think he's leaving because he just signed a new one, right? Or is this his last year?
I believe this is his last year and he's a free agent because there's been a lot of people here in Houston that want to see him in the Texans uniform next year.
Him come home.
He's from Galveston, went to
Hmm.
A&M. You
Yep.
know, all the connections and everything are there. As a matter
Oh
of
yeah,
fact,
because he was there with Manziel. I remember.
yeah,
I
he
remember.
got off the bus with the Bucks wearing a Houston Astros jersey when
Yep.
they came here to play. So, and I mean, good good dude from all accounts. People that I know that are close to like the
I haven't
A&M
heard
program and stuff like
nothing.
that.
I've heard nothing bad about the young man.
Yeah, people that I know around the league or whatever, like nobody says anything bad about the guy. He's a good dude. I personally don't like him as a Saints fan because of the shit he likes to talk to Marshawn Lattimore, and Marshawn Lattimore has been proven to shut his ass down. So it is what it is. I take my fandom out of it. And I would say I would love to see him here in a Texans uniform, but he would also look good in a Colts uniform. And like I said, I mainly see that because that would give Anthony Richardson two big boy targets on the outside. Plus, Jonathan Taylor would get another big blocker on the outside. And you do not get big run plays unless your wide receivers are blocking for you on
I
the
gotta look
outside
up.
and down the field.
I gotta look up DK's contract, but I think DK. I don't think DK is staying in Seattle too much longer.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
Oh, I'm about to mess with my daughter. What is it? Hey, Maddie. So you're a Cardinals fan, right? Um, if the Cardinals get a top pick,
She said
do
maybe.
you think they draft Caleb Williams or do you think they draft like Marvin Harrison Jr. to help out Kyler Murray? Oh, you don't. Oh, wow.
What she say?
They're most definitely taking Caleb Williams because K1 got him.
She says K1 has to go. They need to take Caleb Williams. Mind you, she literally asked for a Kyler Murray jersey for Christmas like 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I understand that,
It's in her closet right now.
but I understand that 2 years ago. Was it the black one? Did she get the
I
black one?
think it was the black one, bro.
Great
I think it
choice.
was the
Great
black
choice.
one.
Great choice. Great choice. Who else on that team? Who else on that team jersey you gonna buy?
Chandler Jones can get out of there, they're gonna find a way to get rid of him.
But I mean, Chandler Jones went crazy though. Like he
Yeah.
needed to get help. He needed to get help.
Yeah.
Help. Like he
Hey,
really had something
Sarah,
wrong with him.
he ain't
If
signed.
they can get
He
rid of
hasn't
their
signed
head
with
coach
Philly yet.
and their
But tell her
GM
thanks for
at
Zach
the
Ertz.
same time,
Hey, Keyz said he hasn't signed with Philly yet, but thank you for Zach Ertz. She said she just gonna make her tea and leave. She done.
Not drinking her tea and leaving.
She making her tea and leaving.
That's crazy. So DK signed an extension last year.
Didn't he sign like a 3-year extension?
Yeah, 3 years, 72. So
Okay,
as long as DK
that sounded
also,
familiar.
I think DK also might be at that point where it's like, just give me the money. So sometimes you got to be that way, man. Sometimes
But
you
I
got to be
mean,
like,
think about
let
it
me get the
though.
money.
When I want to say, who
I'm
was
gonna
it
get my stats.
that first set that market at like that 20 million mark? I can't remember the wide receiver, but when that 20 million mark got breached, oh, the interns are allowed. Yes, they are allowed. Sloan. I was actually talking to her, asking her something. Now she fixing her tea before she go to bed. But no, like they once they breached 20, I was like 25 ain't gonna be that far out.
Nah.
And then you started seeing when I saw Tyreek get 30, I was like, it's up from here
Tyreek
with wide
is
receivers. Because now they're all you're going to get guys that are like technically a wide receiver 2 that are going to get paid like a wide receiver 1. T. Higgins comes to mind because they look good and put up numbers when you have that other guy on the other side of you. But then when you are the guy, now you got to put up those numbers or better. Some guys can do it and some guys can't. I'm sorry, but I think I'm not going to say money wasted on a guy like a T. Higgins. I'm just going to say make sure you surround him with the kind of talent that can at least take some of the attention away from him.
Is T. Higgins the number 3 or is he the number 2? Because sometimes he's the number 1. That's the good thing about that Bengals room is Jamar Chase isn't always the number 1. And he is clear the number 1, but he has his games where he's the number 3.
There'll be some times where you'll see Tyler Boyd getting a lot of action.
Boyd
and
T is supposed to be the number 2, and Boyd is supposed to be
the number 3. But this is why I tell people don't look at like when you look at a play, the quarterback is going to go through his progressions. It just depends on who's 1, 2, and 3 or whatever in those progressions on that play, given that defense.
For that particular play, yep.
Right. Now, like, okay, I know what Jamar's route is on this play. I know if I just need something to happen, I can just throw it in his general direction. We can make something happen. That's cool.
And then it depends on who's on him too, because if they're best, if you have like I can't think of if you got like Sauce Gardner, let's say he's playing the Jets and Jamar got Sauce Gardner on him, you can't throw. You're not going to be able to throw to Jamar every play. You're gonna get one or two where Jamar gonna get him and he's gonna get open to get the ball. But that game is probably gonna be Tyler Boyd's game or it's gonna be T. Higgins' game more than it's gonna be Jamar Chase's.
And another thing too is like you go into that game planning, knowing that we're not probably gonna throw in this direction a whole lot. Now, one thing that I will say about some
hard to tell the receiver that though. I'll tell you that.
It's mainly, I'm gonna put it to y'all like this. It's mainly when a corner will travel. And I would talk about this all the time with my homeboy Stanford Route because he played the game, college, NFL. He does TV, radio, media, and coaches and stuff now and trains. But when he and I would always talk about corners and DBs, we would always we like the corners that can travel with the team's best receiver. It don't matter if he's on the left, on the right, in the slot, wherever that receiver goes. I prefer him the same way because that's the defense he grew up playing. A corner that can follow that receiver wherever they go. You got some guys like a Richard Sherman, who built a reputation off of being on just that one side.
Darrelle Revis.
But there are some guys who will travel. Sherman had the ability to do it. It was just the defense that he played in only called for him to play this side.
Mm-hmm.
We saw when after he had the knee injuries and stuff, and he had that resurgence when he went to San Francisco, and they were playing a lot of press man, follow the receiver around the field type of coverage. He had it. He could, and this was later in his career after injuries. He proved he could do it. So you see, like how these guys end up, and I think that I just prefer the corners who can travel. Sauce is a zone corner.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he travels, sometimes he doesn't. Derek
Just how it
Stingley,
depends on who they're
it
playing.
depends on the matchup.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because he's always, and one thing I like about Sauce, Sauce is gonna take that number one receiver every time.
Yeah.
He wants that challenge, and I like that about him.
But the thing is primarily they play more of a zone than they play a press man. Everybody was shitting on Derek Stingley Jr., thinking that the Texans made the wrong pick because they picked him at 3. The Jets picked Sauce at 4. Sauce went on to be an all-pro as a rookie. Stingley was hurt, didn't really do anything. After this past round of games, just this past week, who do you think has more career interceptions?
Stingley,
He has 5. How many does Sauce have?
I have no idea, but I know it ain't 5.
2.
Huh.
I kept telling people, be patient, let this kid get healthy. Number 1.
A lot of people thought, actually, honestly, I saw a lot of people thought Sauce was the wrong pick.
Wait.
Was the wrong pick for the Jets,
Number
especially
2.
where they picked him at.
Number 2. Stingley needed to be used correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Damn balloons, bro. What the hell?
It's weird.
It's like
We
certain stuff I do,
got
and then there's balloons and all kind of shit just start popping up. I don't even know
and
how
it's
I
only
did
you.
that.
It is only you.
Yes, because we tried it last week, remember? Anyway,
It's only you. It's crazy.
StreamYard be tripping. But anyway, I said Stingley had to be used in the right kind of defense because he was used in that zone Tampa 2 scheme that Lovie Smith used to run last year, and it didn't really take good advantage of his skill set. Now that he's playing in a man press man type of defense with D'Amico Ryans, it takes better advantage of his skill set. Now he's running down the field, just following the receiver instead of playing an area of the field. So now, when he's healthy, of course, you can see his athleticism on display in some of the interceptions that he's made.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one that he made, it was a post deep down the field. He kind of got beaten on the route and was kind of relying on his help over the top and just ended up trailing the play using his recovery speed. And just jumped up and just snatched the ball out of the air. The receiver had no shot whatsoever because he ended up catching up and then undercutting the route to snatch the ball out of the air. On the one of the ones last, the one last week, it should have been a holding or pass interference on Jalen Petrie. But he was able to plant and turn last minute and reposition himself to make sure he made the interception. You're seeing his playmaking ability and athleticism on display, and the reason why when they look at, okay, this is the type of defense that we want to play. Here's the player profile for this position. He fits everything perfectly. This is why we're going to draft this guy over this guy. But I don't think that people see that kind of stuff when it comes to team building and player development. And this happens on every level, on every sport.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be patient because good team building happens when you pick guys who fit certain things that you want to do as a team in whatever sport you're in. And if you
Especially
know
with basketball.
Basketball is huge.
Because a lot of times on draft night, everybody's like, who is this? Who is that person? Why did you draft him? And then down the line, they turn into, a really good player. Because especially the overseas foreign players, when you're not hip about them because you don't watch foreign basketball or you don't watch the Olympics or anything like that, your team, San Antonio did that for years. It turned into some really great international players.
Manu
Um,
Ginobili, Boris Diaw. Oh
J-
gosh, they had
Parker,
another Tony Parker, of course.
yeah.
There was another like
Tony
big.
Kukoc was one of them. Remember, everybody was like Tony, but Tony, people don't remember. Tony was killing it.
He was an
Tony was Jordan.
MVP. He was an
Tony was
MVP in the
Jordan
Spanish league, I
overseas.
think.
Yeah, he was Jordan overseas. So
It was either the Spanish league or the Italian league or one of those top leagues in Europe. He was an MVP. But in football, for example, like let's say with an offensive line, if you have more of a power run scheme, you're going to draft guys who can block that type of scheme, guys who are more physical, who are stronger, bigger, whatever. If you have more of, let's say, a zone blocking scheme, you're going to draft guys who are slimmer, smaller, quicker, maybe not as strong. So if you like a more of a ball control type of pass game, you may draft and build around bigger, physical, more receivers. If you like more deep or crossing routes or quick things, you may draft smaller, quicker guys. It just depends on how you want to run your offense as to how you're going to draft and fill these positions.
Yep.
But I just love where the league is now, because you see a little bit of everything on certain teams. Like a perfect example, I don't mean to beat a dead horse or keep going over it, but that Eagles 49ers game, both of those teams have elements of power run game, zone blocking, finesse, spread,
all depends on what.
RPO.
Like with us, it depends on what running back is in. Because if Gainwell's in, it's more of a finesse run game compared to if
Yes.
Swift's in. Swift's a power running back.
And I love
Jalen.
Gainwell.
If Jalen's gonna run the ball, Jalen's a power. He could turn into a power back.
Exactly. And
At
I love
quarterback. So
Gainwell because I want to say Gainwell was the other guy that was at Memphis with Tony Pollard, who plays for the Cowboys.
I believe he was.
Both of those guys were like running backs / wide receivers at Memphis. And they come into the league and they're good at both, running and catching the ball out of the backfield for their respective teams. So I love where the league is at. I love where it's going. I love the fact that the intern is mixing up her tea and she has on her headphones, so she really don't know how loud she mixing up her tea.
I thought we were in Get Out for a second. I was like, hold on, am I about to go into a trance? All I heard was the clinking. I was like, oh man, damn. They done came and got me. Shit.
Oh, she said now she hears, oh my bad.
Thought we were in Get Out for a second.
I swear, bro. I'm gonna give them a shout out right quick because their pharmacology class got like over $2,000 worth of grants, whereas every other class only got about 500 or so. So I hope my bag of brown sugar that I contributed to whatever experiment that they're doing helped.
Since he can't say nothing back, I'm about to get Dre ass real quick.
Oh, she said they're making cookie mix. How do you make cookies in a pharmacology class?
It's taken because of like measuring, converting, and all of that.
Oh, okay. I'll allow it.
So before I say something, look at Dre's comment.
What did Dre say?
That's why he laughing, because he know what I'm about to say. Look at this comment.
So trust.
Thank you for the explanation, intern.
I get to bring the next home.
Okay, bake the cookies, bring them home. Appreciate it.
Send 2 of them to Virginia.
Keyz says send 2 to Virginia.
He got posted.
She said, "Did you have posted?"
Sure do.
Hey.
If I didn't, I'll have it that day. So as he said, that teacup made me think I was going to the sunken place. Like you ain't already there, brother.
Bro.
You've been there,
I know
brother.
Where you live. You're there.
You're there.
You're there.
You're never escaping. Okay? You like what's old boy when they were at the little tea party outside?
I'll be honest, I don't know because I ain't never watched it.
Oh, I ain't watched that movie in so long. You've been there. It don't matter. You've been there. You ain't coming out of it. Uh, you're a slave. No, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. You're in.
Hey,
No, I can't say that either. You're
nope.
trapped. You're trapped. You're trapped. That's it. You're trapped.
What did KG say earlier? I'm looking for the comment right now. I'm scrolling back.
You're trapped.
Don't say it. We recording.
Can't say that word. Especially where you live at. Man.
Hey. Anyway,
Hey.
like
And
we
if
were
you're
saying,
and if your lovely wife is watching, it's all jokes.
yeah, it's just
It's all
jokes.
jokes. I
It's
promise
just
you.
jokes. Promise.
We love you. It's all jokes.
Scouts honor.
We got you. I promise. See how
But
you do the blows again? Was it the
bruh,
peace
I
sign?
don't know.
Did the peace sign do it? Because that's what you just. It was the peace.
Hey, the
Okay,
peace
we
sign
figured
does
one of them out.
balloons. Hold up,
We figured one out.
let's see if this one do again.
There you go.
Hey.
See, we starting to get it now. And why I can't do it? This is crazy. Peace sign, no
Bruh,
balloons. All right, that's cool.
let's go ahead and deal with the elephant in the room because
Ah,
we've been holding back that
college.
monster for a long time.
That's what I told her. College football, boy.
Hey, yo!
College football is crazy. College football is crazy. Uh, so you want to get into Sat? Let's go Saturday first.
Yep.
Well, Friday. Friday we got.
Army plays Navy at 2 o'clock on Saturday.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I was talking about this past Saturday.
Oh,
But I was like, I forgot about Friday. Washington, Oregon played.
bruh,
Uh, really good game. Um,
fuck all that. I'm going straight to the meat on the bone.
all right, we're just gonna get into.
Let's just
No, no,
peel
no.
the
Hold
scab
on,
off.
Georgia and Alabama first because that set it all. That's what set all of this off. Texas winning was fine. We knew Texas was gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
But Georgia, Alabama is actually what set Sunday off because no,
Mm-hmm.
I said it last week, but a lot of people did not think Alabama was going to go into Georgia and did do what they did. It was a great game though. I watched from beginning to end. It was a great game. Um, I just think Alabama wanted it more, and they showed it. They showed it, and they set off a nuclear bomb. Yes, it was them. They set off a nuclear bomb that, and also Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State and Louisville was a great defensive game. I'm gonna say that first.
But see, here's the thing.
Florida State defense is some dogs. I'm talking
They
about, and
are. And
Louisville defense wasn't bad either. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if it was because of who was playing quarterback, because I don't want to take anything away from what they did also on defense.
mm-hmm.
But I feel like different quarterback, different game.
Yep.
The fact that the Florida State quarterback only had 55 yards entire game.
Talk about it.
I think, and everybody hates to say it, and I agree with a lot of what the analysts have been saying. It does not matter who is at quarterback. That team went undefeated, 13-0 the entire season. They deserve to be in that four team playoff. And the more I thought about it, my stance from Sunday changed, and I kind of agree.
Hey.
They earned it. It's not about one player because that's showing
Mm-hmm.
that, and I get what was said also. It's showing that one player makes the team, and I don't think that's the case when that defense plays the way they play. I feel like they should have been there. I do.
Hey, what have I been calling for the last few weeks?
Chaos, and that's what we got. Chaos. I mean, we got to work on this audio. Oh
It is a delay. I can tell because, like,
man, no, it's low.
oh,
Yeah, because
my
the music
bad.
was low. I was trying to tell you the music was low too when you played it.
Let me see.
I heard. Well, I'm sure they can hear it, but yeah, that. Oh man, I do think Florida State should have got in. It's a travesty that a 13-0 team is being is having to go play a different bowl game and not play to go to the national championship just
Hmm.
because of their quarterback getting hurt. I think it says I think the committee got it wrong. And it took me a while. After, like I said, initially I didn't. I don't have the same outrage as the fans do. I'm gonna take an
It,
email. I'm gonna go email. I'm not gonna name no names. I'm gonna say the fans. Uh, I'm gonna say the fans. But I get why they're upset. Your team goes 13-0, and regardless of who the quarterback is, regardless of the quarterback being hurt, that team earned that. And to take it away from that team, I hate it for them. Like it sucks. It really does. Luckily, next year, we're going to a 12 team, and hope we'll probably have the same chaos because a lot of those teams from the Pac-12 are now going into the Big Ten, the Big East, um, well, not the Big East, the Big East. Well, is the Big East still around in
yeah,
football? Okay.
yeah,
Going into the SEC, you got Texas going over to the SEC. I like that they're going to 12 just because with all of those good teams from those conferences coming into these power conferences, now you're going to get a lot more one loss, two loss teams. I don't think you're going to, I honestly don't think you're going to get an undefeated team anymore. This might be the eight, and it could be Florida State could do it again, possibly, but or some other team in a lower conference like that. But in those bigger conferences, you're not going to get an undefeated team anymore because there's more competition coming in now.
yeah, definitely.
But for this year, chaos. It was just utter chaos.
It was and I love it. I
I got
love it.
I got Texas Bama in the championship though. I got
Hey,
Texas winning.
bruh,
I got Texas beating
that would
Bama twice.
be here. The reason why I'm not going to disagree with you here, and normally like because I've been on
I
Georgia
love
should be
Washington.
number one. I think
Yeah.
Michigan was the best team in the country all year. I've been saying that for a while. I said Georgia is gonna fuck around and lose a game because they
Washington was clearly the third best out of all of them.
exactly
And
Washington
Florida
is.
State was the fourth best.
I'm gonna put it to you like this: when the committee put that clause in there where they said the availability of players and or coach or coaches.
And Dre said that. When I saw that, I was like, Michigan, even though Michigan got lucky that
Hmm.
Harbaugh only got 3 games.
And it was the last 3 games of their
But
season before the
honestly,
CFP.
I think Michigan still would have got in because they still went 3-0 with the assistant head coach. Even though Harbaugh was gone, Harbaugh was still able to coach. They didn't suspend him where he had to be away from the school. He just couldn't coach those games.
Right. It was a
He
game
was still there for
suspension.
preparation. Yeah.
Right. It was a game suspension, not a program suspension. It wasn't like you're suspended from the program or you're on
But I think
indefinite leave.
if it
You're
was a
just
program and he
suspended
had
for
got,
3 games.
let's say he had got 5 games or something like that, and he got
Hmm.
those two going into the playoffs, Michigan might have been looking on the outside too, regardless of what they done, because that clause.
I'm gonna put it to you like this:
I hate that clause. That clause is stupid. I
it
hate it.
it it is what it is until it ain't what it ain't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those 3 games, they beat Maryland at Maryland only by a touchdown. That was the first game without Harbaugh. They beat number 2 Ohio State by 6 points without Harbaugh.
Uh-huh.
And then they beat I believe it was number 16. Yeah, number 16 Iowa, a notoriously tough team. Another one of those teams where you just know their player profile, what they're going to bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
26-0. So they had a 1-score victory on the road against a conference opponent who they should have beat by more.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the number 2 team in the country by 1 score in their place, and then they blanked the other ranked team from the other, division in their conference in the conference championship. When you do that, it's like, okay, I see why they probably would have gotten in if
There's no
Harbaugh
drop
was
off.
still suspended because there was no drop off. Now we
Looking
look
at
at
Florida
Florida
State,
State,
offensively, there was a drop off.
huge drop off.
Actually, there wasn't. Because Rodemaker prior to the concussion last week, was playing amazing. And
Okay,
there
in
was
the
no,
Florida game, he was 12 of 25 for 134.
but look at the score of the game.
It was 24-15.
What was the next week?
That
Hold on,
next week, they
because
beat
he played
they
3.
beat Louisville.
Okay, no. I thought he played 2. I
I'm
thought
just
he
going
played
from the
2.
Florida game first because the other game was North Alabama.
Okay, because
I
that's
mean,
the one he
like,
played 2. But yeah,
I
could be
could
North Alabama.
probably. I'm
Yeah,
not saying we would win like
maybe.
13-7 if we played North Alabama and I was quarterback at Florida State. Because I ain't
But
gonna lie, I'm old,
my
my
whole
back
thing
hurt, and my
was
arm is shot. But I
9
still think
times
I
out
could
of
win the game.
10. My thing is 9 times out of 10, Rodemaker was going to play because they have a month before they play their games. So Rodemaker 9 times out of 10 is going to be the quarterback, not whoever played Saturday.
Against North Alabama, Rodemaker was 13 of 23 for 217 and 2 scores.
Okay, so I mean, I still don't think there was a drop off from their previous quarterback. I think the drop off really was from Rodemaker to the third string, because the third string only put up 55 points. I mean, 55 yards, and
Yeah.
barely got that. Barely. Yeah,
But I
Glenn was
mean,
horrible.
when
He played horrible, and I think the committee wasn't looking at it like Rodemaker's coming back. They were looking at it like, all right, he's got 4 weeks, but he's probably not going to play. And I'm like, he didn't go into concussion protocol until the game was over.
Yeah, but you know how they take that shit serious nowadays. Like, it's just
No. They definitely do. They
they
definitely
take
do.
that shit real serious
But I think
nowadays, and I'm glad that they do. But
I
it's
think
one of those things
I
where,
feel like in a month, by the January 1st game, Rodemaker would have been ready to go. And but let's say Florida State got in. Who didn't get in? Did Alabama?
okay,
That's where the chaos was going to come at.
let's
Honestly,
let's
did
look at it like
Texas
this.
does Texas get in because Texas beat Bama, or does Bama get
Rodemaker
in because
had
Bama beat the number 1 team?
Rodemaker had 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, right?
Uh-huh.
You would think that would be, oh, hey, this guy's great.
He's good.
Completion percentage, 57.1%.
It's not bad. Not when your defense is playing like that. That's not bad. When
When
your
you're in
defense
college and you are sub like 62, 63 or so percent, that's terrible.
but when you look at the way their defense has been playing, and the defense has been dogging all season.
I mean, they have. I'm not going to take that from them because they started it with frustrating the hell out of LSU and Jaden Daniels. He still had a really good game against that defense, but it was their defense that caused them to, pretty much lose that game. But this is the thing. It's not saying, and to the people later, I'm not save a lot of that for later, but
the fans.
But Jordan Travis made that big of a difference because it wasn't that he was that good that he should be considered for the Heisman. It's the fact that the drop-off between him and his backup and his third string was so far. It was
from him to the backup to
such
the
a
third
big gap.
string.
I mean, it was a huge
I don't
gap.
think, because that's why I said I don't think Rodemaker was a huge drop off. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. I ain't gonna put it like that because him and Jordan Travis are not in the same atmosphere.
Bro,
but
that was a pretty significant drop off between Travis and Rodemaker.
Glenn is the drop off because it was 55 yards.
I'm gonna put it to you like this.
Barely.
It's
hell,
like
Rodemaker to Glenn drop off was what's horrible.
Going from Jordan Travis to Rodemaker is like, okay, I got a Ferrari, but now I'm going to like one of these Lexus sports sedans, like a GS, right? Still a very nice car, a luxury vehicle. You would like, anybody wouldn't mind driving it, I don't think, unless they have some sort of moral objection or something like that. But I mean, it's still a really nice vehicle. Yeah. It has a little get up and go. But that ain't a Ferrari.
And then you go to
That
Glenn,
drop
who's a
off from
Pinto.
Rodemaker to Glenn was like going from a GS Lexus to like we got a Civic.
Damn, I don't like Civics.
It's not.
Not
It's an electric
87,
Civic at that.
85 Civic.
So
That's the way he played.
you only getting like 200 miles to the charge, and then you got to stop off at the charge station and charge again. That was the drop off. You went basically from a Ferrari all the way down to an electric charge Civic. I'm not shooting down electric cars and like that because my sister got one and it's kind of badass because I drove in it before. But you still have a decent vehicle. It's just not the vehicle you had before. And you have to think about it. Okay, if we're going on a cross-country road trip or something like that, yes, this Ferrari is going to get us there much quicker. We're going to spend more money on gas and everything. But I mean, goddamn, like we're driving a Ferrari. Can we do it in this Lexus? Yes, you can still do it in the Lexus. You won't get there as fast. It'll still be a comfortable ride and it may be okay. But I mean, it's not this Ferrari or let's say this Bentley or whatever, more comfortable ride. But then when you go down to that little Civic, you're like, bruh, I'm too big to fit in the Civic for that damn long. Like my knees, my back, my shoulder, everything gonna hurt when I get out of that car. I'm gonna be pissed off. Yeah. I'd rather ride in that Bentley. I'll settle for the Lexus. I can't do the Civic.
I'm just glad they're going to a 12 team next year. Like we said, there's still gonna be we still gonna get chaos with that too.
Because for sure.
There's gonna be a lot of 1 loss, a lot of 2, and a lot of 3. At that end part to get in. This year, Florida State just happened to get the bad end of the straw. Bad luck. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I did ask a question. I said, if Florida State had got in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because me and you were texting about this.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia and Texas were 9 times out of 10 the 2 that were going to get in. Georgia losing put them out. I don't really care about the whole. They were number 1 all year. They won 2 championships back to back, longest win streak. None of that matters once you lose in the conference championship game when you're undefeated at the end of the season. You automatically go from 1 to like 6 or 7. I think they went to 1 to 6.
Yeah.
You automatically move out of that 4 regardless.
Exactly. And
unless the other teams are that bad, then you get to stay right there. If they're not, then you leave.
And my thing
the argument was Bama and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Texas is better because they beat them.
Mm-hmm.
They beat them.
Yep.
Even though Bama beat Georgia, Texas still was better. They both end up getting in, but let's say Florida State had got in. Who would have gotten that last 4th spot? Texas or Bama?
I think,
in your opinion.
My opinion, I think it would have been. I think they would have ended up picking Texas slightly over Bama because of the head-to-head.
Okay.
I would have put Alabama in personally.
Probably
I'm
because
sorry. I don't even care if I stay in the state of Texas and I know I'm going to piss a lot of good friends off. I told them why I thought that.
Is it the money or is it because you think Bama's a better team?
It ain't even the money or nothing like that. It was like when we were talking about it on Sunday, I said, there are certain metrics that the committee uses where Bama has a better, I believe it was strength of record, strength of schedule, and their FPI, the Football Power Index, was higher than Texas. When you look at their opponents and their key wins and whatnot of the season, Alabama's opponents, key wins were better than what Texas had. Texas had a lot of key wins, but the one thing, the thing that people can cling to in that argument is that they played head-to-head and Texas won. And I'm like, okay, that's a huge thing right there. But if you weigh everything else, like everything that you factor into it, and I assign like some sort of point system or value system to it, Alabama's points would outweigh Texas's points. even though Texas gets a huge chunk of points for winning that head-to-head matchup, it's the cumulative of all of what Bama brings to the table that would put would put them over Texas, in my opinion. That's just how I had it. You can call it SEC bias, you can call it delusional, whatever.
Which is what everybody wants to call it, the SEC bias, but it is there. I mean, we're not gonna act like it's not there. It's been there for years. We see it every year where a SEC team gets in because of the money. It's always the money. SEC travels, their fans travel no matter, especially if it's Bama, Georgia, LSU,
Florida.
who else? Florida for sure.
There's some Tennessee fans that'll travel, I believe.
I'm gonna be honest. I'd even say that about the ACC. Miami teams are gonna travel.
Some yes and no. I would say the best traveling ACC teams
might be Florida State.
I would say Florida State,
Auburn for sure.
SEC.
Auburn's SEC. Well, Auburn fans travel too.
Yes, they do, because I got a good buddy of mine out here that went to Auburn, and he and I, if we don't call or text each other for nothing else, Auburn LSU week, we talking shit all week. And then we'll say, hey, what bourbon did you try? Hey, I'm bowling some crawfish or something. Like, that's how it'll end up going. But, like, I think Clemson has a good traveling squad. There's some ACC teams that'll travel. But just the thing about it is, though, it's like people have to learn in sports there's going to be pleasure, there's going to be pain. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. Dre said there's definitely SEC bias, but it is what it is. And the thing is like when you look at the national champions over the last, 10, 15, 20 years.
SEC, Big 12, and Big 10 bias, of course.
Big, heavy. And the SEC has won the majority of those.
Yep.
Like they went on the streak where I want to say the SEC won like 6 or 7, 8 straight national championships. And a friend of mine, we were in a group chat and she was like, the SEC should be penalized because they play these cupcake teams later in the season. And I didn't say it at the time, but I wanted to tell her, like, okay, what happens? Do you credit them for playing tougher teams at the beginning of the season? Because LSU just had a home and home with UT. Alabama had a home and home with UT, USC, and a couple other schools recently. The SEC plays, other Power 5 schools out of conference. They just do it earlier in the season instead of later in the season.
Most of them do it like week 1, week 2.
Exactly.
They get them out the way early.
Get them out the way early.
Because I know NCAA football used to do that. When you go through your, when you're doing the coaching joint, you go through your season. When you're getting ready to start the season and you
building that schedule,
I always, what's crazy? I always take out the cupcake game. I was the person that would always have the A+ schedule rating.
Yep.
Because I would take out that FC whoever they would have you playing. Like, I don't want to play these low teams. Like, no, give me I'm going through the schedule like, all right, where you rank? Yeah. Especially if I'm number 1, let me knock off number 2 real quick. Let me go get them out the way. I would schedule against the number 2 team in the first 2 weeks because I'm like, nah. 1, I want to show I'm the better team and I'm dominating. 2, I want to get you out the way. Get your 1 loss early. Go.
Yeah. Like, I put it to you like this, bro. I made sure I always had that A+ schedule because I knew how the little computer ranking thing would work, right? I would make sure I scheduled the toughest schedule I could possibly schedule. Every single out of conference game. 10. Exactly.
I wanted
give
everybody
me Michigan,
in the top
give me I want USC, I want all these schools. I want all the smoke.
I want everybody that's in, if you at least somewhere 1 through 15, preferably 1 through 10, preferably 1 through 5 if I can do it. But I always made sure I had a ranked. It was almost a ranked game every week.
Yeah, and that's what I shot for because it was like I wanted to make sure I do it. But I got tired of the leagues and Madden and everything because we would have all 32 teams had a user. We had everything structured to make it as realistic as possible. Somewhere along the lines got blurred. It stopped being fun. I was just like, you know what? I'm out. NCAA football gonna come out. I was like, that will definitely bring me back in. Because I like the recruiting, I like the scheduling, I like, all of that, the aspects of it. And, to put it on the next gen game systems that we have now, the PS5, is going to be that much of a better experience than what we used to enjoy, 10, 15 years ago with the same game. So me, myself, I'm a fan and I can't wait. Before we get to our rants right quick, I just wanted to touch on a couple of MLB things, news and notes. The Yankees and the Red Sox made a very rare trade.
Oh,
bruh.
I didn't even know about it.
It literally came out. I had got home from work and everything and was chilling, doing some prep for the show, whatever. And then I saw this trade pop up. Outfielder Alex Verdugo goes from the Red Sox to the Yankees for some right-handed pitchers, for a couple of pitchers and whatnot.
Probably from the farm system.
Yeah, I think it was some prospects or whatever. This is just the 8th trade between the Yankees and the Red Sox since 1969.
Because they hate each other. That's why.
Bro.
They hate each other. I wouldn't trade with my rival either. That's like the Cowboys and the Eagles trading with each other every year, or like the Steelers trading with anybody in the AFC North.
I could see that before I see the Yankees and the Red Sox trading with each other, to be honest with you.
When it happens, it's always a shock when it happens. It's never a blockbuster trade. It's always some small like that. I think the last blockbuster one, I don't even think it was one. I don't think it's ever been Babe Ruth. That was like the first
1918 or something like that.
I don't think it's been one. I don't think it's been a blockbuster one since then. Not trade. There's been free agents that have left Boston and came to the Yankees, which has always shocked people. Like, how do you go from here to here when, especially if you play with Boston for 10 plus years? It's like, how do you do that?
There's guys that have gone back and forth with free agency, but the trade thing,
never.
That's a no.
Never big names. Like I said, Babe Ruth probably was the last one where we traded. He traded and left Boston and came to the Yankees.
The only other significant thing in baseball is this kind of peculiar Shohei Ohtani free agency where people thought it was going to be on and popping.
And he's staying, right?
It's going to be all this offers and $500 million and all this. And it's basically coming down to like maybe 2, maybe 3 teams.
I think it's because, and honestly, I think he may have already told his agent, hey, it's either I'm staying here or I'm going here and going here. A lot of times players don't want to, because we see it in football and basketball too, where players are like, look, I don't even want the rest of you guys to even waste your time. Go on, find somebody else. Don't worry about me.
I don't want to I'm looking at.
Yeah, I don't want to mess y'all up where y'all are trying to throw all your eggs or a lot of your eggs over here.
Perfect example is
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant, of course.
Darius Leonard.
Like,
as soon as he hit the waiver, he said it's Cowboys, Eagles. That's the only people who visited.
I think it was maybe.
Honestly, I think he honestly, and this
I think it was like maybe one other team, right? That could have possibly been in the mix, or it was just Cowboys and Eagles.
It was just Cowboys and Eagles. I think they said Zach.
I know that was the 2 visits that he had, but
I know Zach hasn't had a visit yet with anybody. They say Zach is between Eagles, of course, Baltimore,
the Ravens.
And it was somebody else.
I know it was Philly, Baltimore. I heard the
Chiefs, but to me, the Chiefs make no sense just because Travis is there. And that's just to me.
Perfect sense.
I think the Eagles make sense because Goddard's there. Same thing with Travis.
It would be the same thing, except when you think about it, if you go to Kansas City, you're going to be expected to pass catch more, help pass catch more.
And you're familiar with the coach.
Exactly. You're familiar with that system and everything,
I
or
hate to admit it, but
semi-familiar with that system. But the thing is you're going to pass catch more,
I hate to
and you're
admit
going to
it.
probably be
I think
featured more because
I think Baltimore is a better place.
easily. And we
It
talked about that
well,
too.
like somebody
I
said in
think
the
we talked
space
about that like Saturday or Sunday or
Sunday.
something. Yeah.
I think it depends on what he wants. If he wants to go and be a number one tight end and be a every down, every play, Baltimore
Be
is where he's
featured
at.
more.
Yeah. If
Mm-hmm.
you're okay with being, because Goddard clearly said he's back for. I seen the reports today. He wants to play every snap he can Sunday against the Cowboys,
Mm-hmm.
which is the last time he played. Actually, he got hurt against the Cowboys. So, and I think that's why he wants to play because he got hurt against the
He has something to
Cowboys.
prove. But
Yeah.
here's the
Well, I
thing
don't
with
even think it's got
Ertz.
something to prove. It's when I go back and watch that play, it was the way he got tackled, and it wasn't even like he was like trying to put his hand down to finesse the fall. Like they really
Mm-hmm.
drove him down, and that's what broke his arm. But I think Hurts is gonna come because one, he's close to the record of he's 11 catches away from the all-time receiving record, or is it the tight end record?
I think
It's one of them.
it's
It's
one of
11.
them.
It's 11 catches though. I do know
But
that
I
part.
know when
He's
he
only
left
11 away.
Philly, they were talking about he was close to that. But like circling back to Otani real quick to close up on all this free agency crap. But basically what's going on with Shohei's free agency, there's only a handful of teams that can afford to pay him what he believes he's worth. And when you only have two, maybe three teams involved that he really wants to go to that can actually afford to pay him what he wants to get paid, it's not as exciting as everybody thought it was. And baseball has pretty much cannibalized itself by crippling the smaller market teams and enabling the larger market teams by putting the tiers on the cap to where you have these different tiers where there's the cap is here, there's this luxury tax, and then there's this big luxury tax. And teams that have the money are always going to outspend, outbid, and out luxury tax teams that don't have the money. So when you get into a bidding war for a big time free agent like this at the top of the class, literally generational talent, there won't be as much excitement and whatnot generated because there's only going to be so many contenders. And that's where I think that he's at right now. Whereas when you look at it on a smaller scale, going back to like football or something, when you got a Zach Ertz sitting out there at a crucial time in the season, everybody's going to be bidding for his services. There's only going to be so many teams that can afford to pay him the rate that he's going to want for the rest of the season. And he knows and understands that. But at the same time, he's looking at, I'm older. I'm on the downside of my career.
Mm-hmm.
Where can I go right now mid-season to probably win a ring and like try to latch on somewhere and secure my legacy, win a ring, whatever? Because he ain't looking for money. He's just looking for a legacy and
the
rings
good thing
and
was
stuff.
he didn't play a lot with the Cardinals, so he's actually like fresh in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I seen also today, and the Eagles were looking at bringing back in Ndamukong Suh, kind of the same way they did last season at the same point,
Mm-hmm.
for the same type of role.
It's similar to a couple weeks
Miami.
ago.
Miami's also looking at bringing in
Wait, I'm glad you said Miami
what's his
because I was
name?
getting at that.
From
The Saints signed Jason Pierre-Paul to their practice squad.
I saw the Lions brought in
That same week, or later that week, whatever, the Dolphins signed JPP off the Saints practice squad onto their main roster.
I saw that.
That other outside linebacker got hurt because they needed another pass rusher. It was literally like boom, boom, like just that quick. And I was like, wait a minute. How's he going to the Dolphins? He literally just signed with the Saints. And I missed it that he signed on the Saints practice squad, not the main roster. So just little tweaks and things like that of the transaction wire you really got to pay attention to, especially this time of year in football, because it's getting to be that stretch run of the season. We're over the midway point, and teams are trying to shape up their rosters. Guys are getting hurt. They're needing to build depth, so on and so forth. So just pay attention to your transaction wire and roster and things like that this time of year.
Reuben Foster, that's who it is.
Yes.
Miami's working out Reuben Foster because of Jerome Baker.
Yes.
He's week to week, but they also lost the other linebacker.
I cannot remember number 15. He went and
And
planted in the ground. It was another non-contact.
non-contact.
He got off the ball. He was over the right tackle, rushing on the outside. I think he took his first step or the second step. But it was, to me, it was scary because the injury that he had and knowing the injury that he had and then watching the replay of it, you can see exactly when it happened. Because as soon as he went to plant, he just dropped. And it was almost like he got shot. And it was like, oh shit, like that's not good.
It's really how it looked though. He just went down and just laid there.
It was a similar way to how Christian Kirksey went down, except I want to say it was his Achilles that the linebacker from Miami tore, and then Kirk, it was a core muscle.
Yeah, it was like almost near the groin. I can't find the Lion one, but they signed a key free agent defensive tackle. If I find it at some point, I'll say his name. But
there's going to be a lot of we were talking about it Sunday, and like I said, there's going to be a lot of roster moves towards the middle end of the season because you got a lot of injuries. And the thing is like you're going to have there's not going to be guys that you can expect to come in and just totally Jalen Phillips for the Dolphins was the guy who got hurt.
Yes.
But you're not going to get like some world beater who's going to come in and just set everything on fire and then be able to like make this huge impact on the team. Tyson Alualu is the D tackle
that's who it was. I can never say his name. I can never sign his name.
This was crazy. Real quick. He was picked like 9th or 10th in that draft by the Jags.
Yep.
Never panned out to be a 9th or 10th overall pick, but has stayed in the league because he's a solid player in the middle of a defense.
Yep.
Guys like that.
Be good for that Lions defense.
The thing is that teams will get infatuated with certain physical attributes or workouts or something like that and overdraft the guy when in fact he was just a solid rotational player who should have been drafted much later on.
4th round, 5th round.
Exactly. He was somebody's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th round.
Somebody saw something and gave him that money. That's what he did.
Exactly.
At a guarantee.
But there's always going to be something somebody sees, and there's going to be a difference of opinion. And I'm gonna go ahead. I don't know if you got yours ready, but I'm gonna just let this lead.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even have one this week. I was gonna piggyback a little bit off of yours, but I'm gonna let you got the full time this week. It's all you, brother.
Cool. Because sometimes there's gonna be a difference of opinion. People aren't gonna feel the same way as others feel. Shit happens. Life be life. It is what it is, right? So this whole Florida State debacle and Alabama getting in, SEC bias, we shouldn't be penalized for this. And, well, if Jordan Travis is going to cause them to miss out on the college football playoffs, he should get the Heisman or he should get votes for the Heisman. Blah, 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 blah. All this shit, right? People talking about Florida State not making it in. The committee plainly said, if there is a player or players, coach or coaches, whatever it is, however they phrase it, because I'm just paraphrasing here. Basically what they say is if some people missing and we feel like that's going to screw y'all up, we got the right to leave y'all ass out. And that's what happened. Now, I will admit, me being who I am, liking to have all types of, foolishness and things like that going on, I'll admit, I was heavily rooting for a whole lot of. I was rooting for chaos. I wanted it to happen. I love it. I thrive off of it. It gets me going. But the fact that everybody is whining and crying and, oh, Florida State this and Florida State that. I'm going to just tell y'all, I don't care. I really don't. I will fill my cup with your tears. Cry me a river. You can cry all day, all night if y'all want. I don't care. Somebody was going to get screwed this season. I saw this coming weeks ago. Y'all can ask Keyz. I said it's going to be so sad at the end of the season when somebody get left out that felt like they should have been in. I said there's going to be chaos. I said Georgia's going to lose a game and it's going to call everybody to tumble. I said, watch what's going to happen between Michigan and Ohio State. Don't be surprised if the winner of that game loses to Iowa in the Big Ten championship. It could happen. It didn't, but it could.
Iowa got dogged.
Iowa got dogged. Oregon couldn't figure out Washington. That would have been real good to see that.
You would have thought they would have figured them out because you played them already.
And you played them tight.
You got film on them. That's crazy. Go ahead.
We had everything going. Everything was set up to. Louisville had the opportunity to dead all of this.
Louisville actually could have done it. They were very close, but that Florida State defense was just.
They couldn't get it done.
They couldn't. That defense was just too great.
And Texas handled business. It is what it is, right?
And Bama handled business.
Bama stood on business.
They stood on business.
They stood on business. But let me tell you why I have very little to no sympathy for Florida State. Because there's always going to be something that's going to cause you to lose out or miss out on something, right? I'll never forget, as a Saints fan, unabashed Saints fan, born and raised in the 504, when the Rams had that pass interference on that sideline against Deontay Hardy, and the referee is standing literally a few feet from the play, and he don't call it, and that literally cost your team basically a chance to go to a Super Bowl, right? I just feel as if there's always going to be somebody that gets screwed. Things happen. There's nothing you can do about it. You played all of your games that are on your schedule and you won them. However, when you look at the eyeball test of that Florida State team, whether it's the third string guy or the backup guy, that team is not the same team that won all those other games this year. They're just not. That offense ain't the same.
Honestly, even with Jordan Travis, they still were out of all the teams. People were still saying they were the weakest, even with Jordan Travis. So,
and this is why I think Sloan brought this up when all of us were talking about it. You have to also make sure you factor in the money portion of things. simply because when you look at the college football playoff, you want results. You want money. You want tickets sold. You want merchandise bought. You want ads paid for. You want hotels, restaurants, whatever city that those games are being
Viewership,
in.
all of it.
Viewership. You want all that because you're going to charge a premium price for all those advertisers. So you want people to be tuning in. You want people to come to that city so that way you can say, hey, when we have the CFP in your city, you're going to get this financial windfall of X amount of millions of dollars, right? All that good shit. I'm sorry, Florida State fans. I've been there before. Like I said, I've
Football is
been
big
a
business.
fan of the team that's gotten screwed over by a call or whatever it is, right? I've been there. It was going to happen to somebody. It just so happened to be y'all. And it just so happened to be this year. It just so happened to be an injury. It just so happened that you were undefeated and 2 one-loss teams got in over you. It sucks, but them's the breaks. Life be life. Some of y'all don't know how to deal with adversity. And you allow that to control you from a standpoint of you allow this thing that's supposed to be this outlet, this game, have too big of a say over your life. And I'm just telling y'all this from a position of a person who went from letting sports and outcomes of games and whatnot affect his whole mood and everything else to the point where I can sit here and I'll never forget watching the Saints get screwed on that call and having to finish writing the article for the publication that I was writing for at the time about that game. I literally looked at the TV, watched the game go off, shook my head, took a sip of my drink, put my cup back down, and kept typing. And that's where I'm at with this right now. Because I've gotten to a point where I can let it hurt, but I don't let that hurt project out. And some of y'all got way too emotional about this, and you have bigger and better things to concern yourselves about. Like, I had a cousin who,
Like real life.
bruh, I had a cousin, I shit you not. If the Saints would lose, we wouldn't want to talk to dude to at least Thursday, maybe Friday.
I used to be like that with the Lakers and a little with the Eagles, but definitely with the Lakers. Yeah, don't talk to me during the season. Them Kobe years where we sucked, boy.
Bro, I've literally been the guy that like threatens a family member with a weapon over the Saints losing.
Yeah, I've been there.
Like that happened, and I had to apologize to him and everything. And like, bro, look,
I can cuss
I
my
was
mom
just
out.
angry and upset, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I can cuss my girl out. Like,
bruh,
it get like that. Like,
I think,
don't talk to me.
and here's the thing.
What you
Here's
touch me?
another, like, pulling back a little bit of the personal curtain, but like, my grandmother, rest in peace, was one of the best and biggest shit talkers I knew. Like when the Saints made it to the Super Bowl against the Colts, this woman was posted up in her wheelchair with Colts gear on and a Peyton Manning t-shirt in a house full of Saints fans. She did not give one flying fuck because she was like, no, I watched that boy grow up. I watched him play sports and everything else. I'm rooting for my boy. I don't care what y'all say. My aunt, my grandmother's younger sister, rest in peace, she sent me a crystal football with a crimson ribbon tied around it with a note attached to it that said, Alabama is the real dynasty, not LSU. Mind you, my grandmother and her sister grew up literally in the, not like on the other side of the river from LSU in the Baton Rouge area. my great aunt was an Alabama fan and would talk shit to me relentlessly about Alabama over LSU. We would never let it get to the point where I'm not speaking to one of them or something like that. It was just friendly banter back and forth. That's how my family has always been. We would just, hey, we talk shit to each other. That's just what we do. But we never let it get to a point where one of us was overly emotional, erratic, whatever about it. And I just think I have some good friends, close friends. I have some, acquaintances, whatever. I just think I see it way too often where people just let sports and the outcome of sports affect them way too greatly personally.
Yeah.
And you let it have way too much control over your life than what you should.
That fandom gets real, man. Like, it does. But never to the point where your oculars are clearly being heard going through the fucking roof.
Bruh. I'm talking about, like, I'll never forget, like, I would throw furniture, like, I would have all kinds of fits and shit. When my team lost a bed or whatever it was. Like, bro, even when I would play sports.
Oh, that's even worse.
Like, I knew I had to stop playing sports even semi-competitively when I was playing some flag football with some coworkers of mine one time. And mind you, I'm already a lot physically larger than everybody else out there. And then once you get to running around, I'm like, shit, I'm faster than everybody. So I'm bigger, stronger, faster, literally bigger, stronger, faster than everybody out there. I got mad at my coworker for not throwing me the ball more and went to breaking down why I should get the ball more. And we just out here having fun as coworkers. And when I got home and I realized how sore I was, I went to work that Monday. I was like, hey, bro, I ain't playing with y'all no more. He was like, why not, man? You good. I was like, nah, I just know myself, and I know I can't do what I really used to do. And that just let me know, like, right there, like, I'm just going to stop. Because I'm not going to go out there and play if I can't play how I used to play, how I'm used to playing.
Mm-hmm.
I said I should have been way more dominant than I was. And I was like, the fact that I was getting mad at you for not throwing me the ball more, nah, I need to quit. Because anytime I know I can't physically perform like I used to, and I'm still pissed off at you for not throwing me the ball more, I need to quit. Because this ain't even that serious.
My little cousin Dakarion is always my catalyst of, like, I don't give a fuck, because I can remember him playing rec league football and their team was so ass. I'm talking about, like, every week getting destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But he never cared. He was ready for the juice and the snacks and stuff that the moms was bringing, while everybody else on the side crying. You got the kids crying and upset they lost and they didn't keep losing. Coach is mad. He be standing there like, so who got the juice? Who got the juice and cookies? Who got the chips? Which mom brought it? Which way do I need to go? He didn't care.
Bro.
Like, team was ass, and he would every year he'd be ready to go play. I'd be like, all right, it's almost time for practice. He'd be good. He ready. But he could care less. He could care less. He just enjoyed being out there.
And that's the thing. Like, there are some people who actually just enjoy playing the game. And you can tell those people who just enjoy playing the game. And then you can tell those people who are like, I don't know, I'm out here for the check or the scholarship or whatever it is.
Or the scouts to get to the next. You can tell those players in high school that, especially by the time they get to junior, senior year.
Yep.
They want to know what scouts are in the stands. College is the same. I want to know what NFL scouts, who's here, who's watching.
Promise you,
ESPN highlights.
That high school basketball shit was damn near my rant this week.
Whoo, that
I'm
might
gonna
be a
tell you
whole
why
show.
off air, but
That might
that
be a
is a
whole show.
rant that is definitely coming soon.
That is a whole show. How that is turned into big business.
So look, so
Big business.
it's like this, and we're gonna wrap it up here because we almost at 3 hours for y'all.
I mean, it's episode 10, man.
We had to do it big, and
At
we had
least
a
for
lot
10.
of crazy
Every
shit to
10.
talk about.
Let me tell you, every 10 is probably going to be a longer episode. So 10, 20, 30, we just go, because we're going to start that.
We had
But
so much shit to talk about.
yeah, a lot
Now
did
the
happen
funny
in
thing is,
sports.
this intern he likes water before he goes to bed, so it's just hearing him pour his cup of water. The other one likes tea, so it's like you got to hear her brew her tea, and then the sugar, and then the stirring. And he just
That's
likes to
crazy.
have his cup of water before bed.
And I drink soda before bed because something's fucking wrong with me. And it don't keep me up. That's the crazy thing. It don't hype me up. It's like the sugar doesn't do it. I just
Bruh, listen,
sometimes juice, but like soda for the most part.
I like to have, like tonight, I was just drinking my bourbon and water, no ice, because I don't want it to be cold. Like, I'd rather just drink it room temperature, but I'll put like a little bourbon and water. And I had a couple of them while we doing the show. But like, that's just like, okay, sometimes I'll come home from work, I just want to relax, unwind. Let me have my bourbon and water or whatever. But like, that's just my little drink of choice. And I'm a collector, whatever. But like, everybody has their little thing, their little routine, or just their little shit, whatever they like to do before bed or when they wake up, whatever. Like, that's just mine. I like to have a little snack, have a little drink, and that's it. But but that whole like teammate coach dynamic and the whole all of that, I promise you that rant is coming, and it's probably going to be next week after how today and this past week went. I just didn't want to do it this week because I felt like we needed to address this fandom issue that people have. But trust me, that rant next week is
These
going
next
to be
couple
like
weeks,
that rant a couple weeks ago when people tried to call me out about what I know about football.
these next couple weeks are going to be interesting though, because there's from this point going to week 18, the NFL is going to get interesting. We got the Christmas games coming up for the NBA and
That's the
NFL.
turning point in the NBA season.
We got a lot of boxing in December.
We got that big heavyweight card coming up. I believe it's the 23rd
Devin
or so.
Haney fights this weekend.
I think.
Or was it? I know it won't this past weekend.
I think him and Regis are. Hold
This
on, let me see
weekend.
if I can find it.
Devin Haney next fight. Yeah, this weekend, December 9th.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, it is.
on
Yeah,
Devin.
December 9th.
So yeah, this month, a lot of boxing this month. So at some point we're gonna probably have like a special boxing episode separate from our normal.
It may
back-to-back.
be one of those. It's either gonna be.
I don't
We
think we'll
haven't
go
decided if we're gonna
live
do
for
it
that
before
one.
or after or what we gonna do, but we'll let y'all know.
I think I want to do it. I know it. Well, clearly it's not this week because the Devin Haney fight is this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So we can possibly. I'm gonna check my homeboy's schedule and see what he can do next week. Probably it'll be a separate show from our normal weekly show. That one,
we may just
live.
Record it,
right?
Throw it out there for y'all
drop
or
it
something
when we
like
need
that.
to drop it.
Yeah, so we may do, and it
That
ain't
actually
gonna
might
be
be
like
the
a
plan.
normal weekly. It's like when we only do it once a week. It's gonna be at least 2 hours or so.
But that one is strictly boxing, so that's gonna be
exactly. That one's gonna be a little bit shorter. But yeah, we have been talking about that one. But because
me and Kenny talk daily about boxing. Like I be adding every time I see someone on the timeline, I'm adding him like, oh, hey.
Like I saw it earlier when you had saw that the Tank Davis knockout in the sparring video, bruh.
So let me tell you something. Kenny is like he's a Haney fan, but he doesn't protect Haney. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But I will say, I think Haney's running from everybody. He don't. I think Haney got skates on, and he don't. He think he's being strategic. I don't.
Here's the thing, and we'll
I think
say
he's running
I'm gonna
scared.
save some of that for the bot, but there's a thing, and I think you and I have talked about this before, called Mayweather syndrome, that some
He
of
don't
these
believe in
fighters
Mayweather
have.
syndrome.
We're gonna get into it in that boxing episode because
I believe it.
it needs to be talked about because it's very real, and it's not. I don't think it's as bad and as detrimental to the sport as other things are. But that's a whole another episode for that special boxing show for us to really get into the nitty-gritty of this shit with boxing. But man, episode 10 is crazy because we were on episode 1 and we were like, all right, we're gonna record next week. Like, yeah, we got to now. We done already started, so we got to keep this going every week. Like, right, we're gonna do Tuesday or Wednesday. Like, we're gonna do this day this week. All right, cool. The same time? Yep, same time. All right, cool. Like, we hitting our stride. We just trying to get our groove, get our feet under us. We appreciate y'all hanging with us. We appreciate the love and the support, the tweets, the retweets, the shares, the likes, the comments, all that shit. Like, we love that shit. Appreciate y'all. Like, keep us on our toes, challenge us. But I will give you a warning. It's like they said in The Wire, when you come at the king, you best not miss. So if you come at us, you better be prepared to get all the smoke, because if you come wrong, you're going to get shot down. I'm just letting you know now. That's how we roll over here at Sucio Sportz. But for everybody at the CDB Multimedia Network, for the Aim High podcast, the Four Corners of Commentary, the Sucio Boys, the A-Hun Soccer Showdown or Sit Down, for a different angle, for everybody, just appreciate the love, appreciate the support. This is Keyz and Jermaine, Sucio Sportz, episode 10. 10. Episode 10. We out.